It's closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.
Hello everyone and welcome to Live at the Bike, brought to you by the Bicycle Casino in Los Angeles, California, the first and only webcast of real action cash game poker. I'm Bart Hanson, I'm here with Dave Tuckman, and this will be the last day until we see you again next Monday.
Yes.
As you go back to Vegas for some other duties that you are doing.
Yeah, Jamie Gold's my new best friend, so he's invited me down there. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm just going to wipe his ass for him.
I see. Well, we're going to be doing 5-10 no limit tonight, a $500 min. Uncapped Finance Tuesdays, there's a $200 no-limit tournament with a rebuy going on. Place is packed. We had 5 or 6 $500 games.
Plus
and
$1,000. That's crazy.
So let's head over to the table and let's get into it
Let's do
now.
that.
Let's go around and introduce the table here.
Let's do that. Seat number 1, we've got good old George. Now, George has been on Live at the Bike before. He's a pretty solid player, actually. Dominates the 3-5 game. And he plays an aggressive, tight brand of poker. You really never know where he's at. I like his game. Seat number 2, we got Andy.
Andy's new to the show. He's heard of the show. He kind of played with me for a while and then didn't tell me that he knew me for a while.
Oh, okay.
Kind of used that to his advantage.
How did it work for him?
I didn't play many hands.
Oh, okay. Seat number 3, we've got, there's Gus. The all in there, Gus. Now, Kelsey's actually not in town because he's actually friends with Jamie Gold. He really is friends with Jamie Gold.
Yeah.
And he is in Vegas cheering on his friend. Seat number 4, we've got Garland. And Garland, we always see a lot of Garland once every 2 months.
He's going to be playing tomorrow on the 2040 show as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting.
Seat number 5, we've got Gaetano. Gaetano. You say Gaetano? I say Gaetano. Gaetano. Anyway, seat number 6, we've got Chuck. Also new to the show. We got a lot of new faces. I always like to see that here at Live at the Bike. Seat number 7, we got Tony. Tony is not new. He's been on the show before.
Big-time tournament player.
He is.
Anthony,
okay, there you go. Seat number 8, we got Matt. That is Matt Dead Money Roswell.
Roswell on 2+2 from Poway, California.
Yeah, we like to call him Matt Dead Money Roswell.
Oh, I see.
That's what it is now. Seat number 9, I actually was joking around with him in Vegas during the World Series, and I called him Dead Money. And, okay. Seat number 9, we got Greg. We got a big hand, so we're going to jump right into it.
Aces in seat 1, queens in seat 7. And we're going to see an open raise here by Anthony. He's going to make it 60 to go with queens in late position. And look at George in the small blind with aces. Is he just going to smooth call here and play it a bit cagey? It looks like he is, Dave. Sometimes that's the best way to do it if you think the raise is going to drive the big blind out anyways.
Right, well, he's not that deep. Remember, neither player... Now, funny thing is, Anthony is very deep.
And rags on the board, and this is probably going to play as a big check raise. Now, the question, though, is that can Anthony might get off of it because he thinks George has a
look
four?
At this. George
bets right into it. He bet 75, and what is Anthony going to do? He is just going to call. Very, very interesting. Here we go to the turn. It's a $250 pot. Harmless 8, unless somebody had 5-7 here.
Yeah,
and he checks it. And I assume that he is going to check raise here. It's a $300 bet here by Anthony.
Not even a question. This is going all in right now. No doubt in my mind.
I got to tell you, I like the way that George played this. Sometimes people define their hand way too much by showing a lot of pre-flop strength.
Yeah, now you wonder if Anthony could have got away from queens anyway, but in this case, even if Anthony had, say, 10s or 9s or jacks, you played it cagey enough that it's really tough to put you on aces.
He's going to mini raise here, only 300 more.
Well, he doesn't want to lose his opponent. He realizes there's one more street to get the rest of the money in. There's no sense of urgency to get all the money in right now.
This pot is 1,300, 300 for Anthony to call. And let's see what Anthony's going to do here. He's asking George how much he has left. George does not have that much left here.
No, clearly George is pot committed. Anthony knows that. Anthony's an experienced tournament player.
My only question to you is, could you ever think the guy had a 4 and get off of queens easier than if it was just rags
maybe
out there?
The one thing that George did that was really good that you wouldn't put him on a 4 right away is the fact that he bet right into the razor. And you'd go, wait a second, this guy had a 4. Why would he bet so quickly? It's more likely this guy has something like ace-8 of hearts. You know, something like a flush draw and he picked up a pair. Something like that.
And he's going to make the call, and this is a $1,600 pot. Pretty obvious that Anthony either has overs and hearts or an over pair. And you wonder if a heart comes, will it kill all the action? Here we go to the river. Well, the river's a jack. That's one hand that George can't beat. He can't beat pocket jacks, but he's all in.
But at this point, the pot is $1,500. What are you going to do with the last $300? And obviously,
he's all in here for $320. So, Dave, it's like a $1,900 pot, $300 to call.
And give credit to Anthony, at least the fact that he's thinking about this. He knows the chance that he's beat. I think he kind of knows he's beat here.
Anthony calls. And again, that's one more hand that Anthony can't beat as well if that guy was making this move with jacks.
Right.
He can't beat 8s. He can only beat 9s and 10s now at the end.
Well, George might have played it like he had pocket 8s. Remember, he bet right into it. The 8s got called. And then he 8 turns. He goes, okay, maybe I'll slow play it a little bit.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. Obviously, if you're real deep, it can be a very tricky hand, and you have to be able to get away from queens if you're really, really deep. In this case, though, George only had $1,100.
So we're playing 5-10 no limit. Yellow chips are 5s, purples are 25s, whites are 100s. A lot of chips on the table. You are watching the free portion of Live at the Bike. If you want to watch the entire show and watch every show we have ever done the last year and a half, you can click on the upper left-hand corner of your screen. Sign up for the archives, the on-demand banner. $14.95 a month gets you access to everything we've ever done, and it allows you to see this show in its entirety.
We've got some sick stuff going on this month, I got to tell you. I mean, absolutely crazy stuff. Roswell here is going to raise it up with 7-5 of hearts.
Yeah, he's going to make it 40 to go. Quick call here by seat 9 with ace-10 offsuit. That's Greg.
Yeah, not a hand that I like to call a raise with.
And George has another, decent hand. He's going to call with ace-queen, easily dominated, but it's not that big of a raise. Let's see how he's going to play it.
There's also a raise from the cutoff seat.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily mean that much.
So we're going to see, looks like 3-way action here, I want to say. Well,
there's
queen 9-5.
Oh, wow. What a flop for George. It's all diamonds.
Top pair and the nut diamond draw. Matt is totally whiffed. He's going to check it. He actually has bottom pair. Greg is whiffed. I assume it's going to check over to George, and he's going to probably... Well, you don't necessarily want to scare away the competition here. He's going to bet 75.
No, but you got to put a little bet in there. Build yourself a pot. We always talk about that. And he takes it down. Now, I don't mind the way Matt played that hand. He raised it 2 off the button, kind of the hijack seat. When he didn't buy himself the button, he said, forget it. Unless I hit a monster, I'm done with it.
I'm going to tell you, I love the games here right now, Dave. Very, very juicy. A lot of tournament players. Me and you are going to be playing tonight. As always, you can email us at liveatthebike.com. Questions, comments, suggestions, always appreciated. Follow a live thread on 2plus2.com, spelled out. Click on forums. Televised Poker. Our buddy Kev Math over in Syracuse, New York, looks like he's become a moderator on 2plus2. Congratulations to him. He's done a lot for the show. He's been with us since the start.
Kev Math, honestly, he's part of the family.
Absolutely.
I'm still wondering, though, if he can get rid of my little Bart Jr. little thing.
If he knows how to do that.
There comes a point where I can get rid of that, become something else besides that.
Maybe you can just learn how to do it yourself.
I tried. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Button moves over here to seat 2.
And if you are not an archive subscriber, you won't be able to watch me finish my hot dog.
No. Well, I would have wolfed that thing down like in 5 minutes.
I was going to. We were talking, man. A big hand came up.
Raise 50 total.
And we're going to see a $50 raise here on the button. He's got king, queen offsuit.
I tell you, this really promises to be a great month. Every single night is going to be phenomenal poker from people we don't know. But we've also got the likes of Gavin Smith, Joe Seabach. I mean, everybody and anybody that is in poker will be coming here this month.
Thank you.
I mean, if there was a month not to miss one single show, this is it.
Button moves over here to seat 3 to Gus, a regular on Live at the Bike. So unbelievable. From when I looked at the stats around 6:30, Jamie Gold had more than double second place, and that was Alan Cunningham. He's the only pro left. Jeffrey Lissandro and Prelog got knocked out earlier, $400,000 richer. But Cunningham really is the only name left until somebody wins and they become a name. Although you make the final table, pretty much you're famous for the rest of the year. I mean, we all know Tex Barch and what's this guy's name? Kessler. Who's the guy that got really, really lucky?
Well, I mean, you learn all
Cantor.
the guys.
Aaron Cantor.
Right, you learn them all.
Yeah.
But honestly, when it all comes down to it, if you don't win, you're forgotten about pretty quickly. You know what I mean? You get forgotten about.
Well, yeah, but, in this age of poker, though, I bet you all those guys got some sort of sponsorship deal that made, say, the final 5.
I have no doubt. But, I mean, if I walk by Tex Barch, I might not look twice. I might not see him. But everybody and their mother knows who Joseph Osher is. Everybody knows who Greg Raymer is.
Button moves over here to Garland.
I mean, it's like the Super Bowl, I mean, you know because the Patriots beat them. But if you think about it and you go, okay, 4 years ago, who was the runner-up?
Right.
Nobody knows. Nobody cares.
St. Louis.
I mean, if I had come in
Actually,
second
4 years.
place,
4 years ago it was Yeah, 4 years ago it was Carolina. The first time was St. Louis. Yeah.
now if I had come in second place in the media event, nobody would know who I am. But because I won,
You're rich and famous now, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Brian Tushman.
I'm rich and infamous, maybe, but that's about it.
Got a live straddle here by Anthony. So it's going to be 20 to go. Three-way action here, $60 pot, limped around.
Yeah, of course. You're paying for it at least. Yeah.
Here we go to the flop.
You're paying for it the rest of the time. Yeah, every hand.
Jack deuce 7 here, Rainbow. Well, Greg's got the best hand here with 6s. He's in position. Might he throw a little bet out here? Looks like he is going to.
Betting 60.
And he's probably going to take this one down.
I wish there was a way we could do some sort of live link from the World Series to Live at the Bike, because I'm actually going down there tomorrow. I'm going to be hanging out. I've got about a long interview, like a lunch and interview with Daniel Negreanu at noon. And then I'm actually having an interview with Jamie Gold on his off day. And then the horseback riding with Kenny James.
None of which is for Live at the Bike.
Yeah, but it's all for Live at the Bike. It's networking. You can imagine the players, the networking that I've been able to
absolutely.
do, that will bring the players here.
Well, we talked about it briefly. Actually, I don't know even if we talked about it yesterday, but I talked about it when you weren't here at the end of last week, that you had kind of a dinner with Phil Locke where you guys were both mic'd up for 2 or 3 hours. He pretty much said now that the Wednesday game is uncapped, he might come here every week and play the game because that's the game he plays over at Commerce, right? And he wants to use his cards. He wants to be televised with his cards.
I mean, me and Phil really hit it off. He's great. I mean, he is absolutely a fantastic guy. I have the utmost respect for him as a poker player and a person. He's a really great guy. And he said, the only thing that kind of pushed him off before, look at this aces for Matt.
Yeah.
The only thing that kind of pushed him off before was the restricted buy-in. He didn't like that.
Matt limped in under the gun. He did not get the limp re-raise.
Uh-oh.
Well, Jack 9-3. Gus is open-ended with backdoor clubs. Looks like Matt's okay for now. He's going to throw one of those.
A lot of scary cards out there, though. Anthony's got a gut shot.
Yeah, we always talk about how you play this if you limp with a big pocket pair and you do not get the raise.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's a somewhat scary board there. You got to realize that people could be in there with Jack 10, Jack 9, Queen 10.
Gus is going to call, and so is Anthony. And, there's a lot of cards that might scare Matt
Almost
here.
any Broadway card comes out, we're in danger.
Well, the turns is 7. Now Gus picks up the club draw as well with his straight draw.
I got to tell you, if Gus plays this aggressively, you wonder if Matt can continue.
And Matt checks. He's not putting any more money. I don't necessarily mind the move, and he gets checked around.
No, he wants to keep this pot really small.
And the river is a king, and Gus makes backdoor clubs.
Yeah, and he actually makes the straight and the club. Now, the interesting thing is that Tony Anthony, has actually made top pair. And does he think it's good? He's going to put about a $100 bet in there.
Well, we always talk about now at the end, you don't have the nuts. You have the second nut club draw. You would think you need to raise at least a little bit for value. If you raise and you get
look
repop,
at this. Now,
now
Roswell,
a call in between.
Yeah, Matt's going to call it. And I think an easy raise here. I think you have to raise it up. You wouldn't put somebody on backdoor clubs.
200 more to call.
And it's a pretty easy laydown for Anthony.
Well, how about Queen 10? That's a pretty obvious holding here as well that none of these guys can beat, right?
Exactly. I mean, you can actually raise the Queen 10. Now that you have backdoor clubs, you can definitely raise it.
Yeah, I would raise the
And look
Queen
at that.
10 as well.
Nice laydown by Matt and nice laydown by Anthony there.
Now, it's funny, I was looking at the makeup of this table. We've only been in it for 10 minutes, but, we're familiar with a lot of these players. Is this the type of table that you would be limping in with big pocket pairs? Button moves over here to seat number 6. Looks like Garland's got ace rag over there. And Anthony's got ace 10 of hearts here in the small blind.
He's going to raise it up here.
Yep.
He sees some weakness out there, and he goes, you know what? Let's see if I can take it down.
55.
And he's going to pick it up.
Yeah, seat 5 there. Mucks the 5-8 of hearts.
It's funny, I was playing in a game last night. I was playing 4 and 5-handed most of the evening. And I got to tell you, I was playing with two of the most passive players I've ever played with. I mean, they were waiting for, sets, 2 pair, to get involved with any pot. So, it was almost like risk-free money, because anytime they actually put their chips in the pot, you knew they had something pretty good.
Right.
Now, I wasn't winning many big pots, but I was taking about 50 here, 50 there, 50 here, 50 there. $2,500 later, it was quite a good night. Nice shot there by
King Queen
Isaac.
suited there in seat number 1. Now Greg has got him dominated there in the big blind. He's got big slick suited here in seat 9.
Time.
Now let's see if George opens here for a raise. Now he's just going to limp in from up front. I really do like George's game. He tends to be a little bit more on the conservative side from what I have seen.
George,
in seat
really?
1.
You think so? I mean, sometimes
I'm
he
not
really
saying
mixes
weak
it up.
tight. I'm just,
Yeah, sometimes he really mixes it up, though, doesn't he?
and it's just limped around. Greg does not raise it with ace king, and the flop comes ace 7-4 here, rainbow.
Well, normally obviously a very safe board for him, but you never know when it's limped around. Somebody could easily be in there with 5-6. Somebody could even be in there with a set. You never know.
He's going to throw $60 out here.
Now, in this case, he's in great shape. Anthony's got a gut shot to the 6, but he's not going to get involved. Matt's going to throw it away, and Greg's going to take it down. Can you believe it, though? Jamie Gold, apparently, though, in the World Series, he is absolutely running over the competition. I mean, it's $30 million for Jamie Gold, $15 million for Anthony for Cunningham, and then $5 million for the next guy.
Yeah, it's...
I mean, at this rate, by the time he gets to the final table, and I believe there's 12 or 11 players left, by the time they get to the final table, he could have half the chips in play.
Again, if you want to come down and play on the show, just put your name on the list. We will give you a week's pass for free.
That's
see yourself for free.
Great deal, huh?
Yeah. Button moves over here to seat 8 to Matt.
Yeah, if you want to just check out the show, come on down, play on it, get a week free, kind of analyze your play. I guarantee you, if you check it out for a week, you'll be hooked. You start going through the archives, seeing all the past episodes we've had, Barry Greenstein, all those guys on the show.
And all those guys probably going to be coming through here again
Oh,
this
they're
month.
all going to be here this month.
Barry kind of said that he would be here too, and I interviewed him in Vegas as well. We're going to have a third headset in here, hopefully by the end of next week.
Well, Vanessa Russo here,
Yeah.
Genocide, Erica Schoenberg.
Now look at this open raise here by Gus, a call by Garland in seat number 4 with pocket 7s. We got a call over there by Anthony with 9-10 offsuit. And Matt's got jacks, and he's going to raise. He's going to throw a big raise in here on the button. Looks like he's going to make it
200 more to call.
about 200 more to call. Well, pretty aggressive there. Sometimes I'll just smooth call with jacks in that spot. But you got to also figure there's 3 callers in between. There is a lot of dead money in there.
Yeah, I don't mind this play here, though. It's on the button. Remember, if you get called, you're in position. You're not out of position. Now, if you're in the small blind and the big blind, it's a lot more dangerous to make that move.
And again, Matt is actually playing, as I didn't see in the beginning of his hand, he's kind of playing short stack poker there, so it's
not
really
bad
not a
play at all.
bad play.
More people to go online.
I mean, the problem with smooth calling there is you give up a lot of value in the sense that if a flop comes out with a queen, a king, or an ace, you pretty much have to be done with it.
Button moves over here to C9. Looks like we're getting a new setup. Again, you were watching a live sample of Live at the Bike. Half an hour for free. If you want to sign up for the archives, click on the on-demand banner and get you the ability to watch the entire live show, plus access to every show that we have ever done.
Yeah, and if you think it's good now, forget it. We hold it all back right now. But wait until 7:30. Then we really get funny. Now, how is Philly Al Barberi doing in the main event? Is he still in?
No.
Oh, he's not. How did he do in the World Series?
Old joke. Give the guy a break, man. Jeez. He's actually playing for me in every Legends event. So
You don't learn, do you? I can't believe it.
Well,
I can't
I'm not
believe
gonna
you still
cut
put this
and
guy
run.
in. I can't. The guy goes 0 for 18 in the World Series. 0 for 18. I really.
hey, one win and I get everything back.
You
plus
you
or
understand that you could pretty much just walk in through the Rio, grab some guy at random, and go, "Hey, I'm going to put you in 18 tournaments," and he probably would have done better than Philly Al.
Well, the more and more I think about it, really, not even making a joke, Philly Al actually has the ability to win a tournament versus a guy that might be able to cash 3 or 4 times on the bubble and would never be able. Do you know what I'm talking about? There are people that probably never have the ability to win.
I just think I think it's absolutely flabbergasting how you enter 18 tournaments and do not cash in one.
Why did you know that nobody's coming?
Well, I mean,
That's unreal.
I had dinner after one of the Omaha events with Mike Wu, and he was kind of the same story. How about, what's the guy's name? Was it Schoenfeld?
Adam Schoenfeld.
Adam Schoenfeld. He's never cashed in a World Series event? And he's played in over 60 events in the last 3 years?
That
something
means
like
he's not very good at tournaments.
Really? Look at his track record. 200,000 invested, never cashed. I'm getting from Ronnie.
I'm sorry. If you have entered 60 World Series events and never cashed, doesn't that say something about your poker
I mean, I think
game?
he's got a couple of WPT final tables, maybe even a win in there.
I don't know, I mean, it just seems like a really strange coincidence. You don't think so?
Five-way
Maybe I'm
action
being too
here.
hard on these guys. I don't know.
Greg has got ace-jack here on the button. Looks to be the best hand right now.
21st century now. We're all PC. We got to be like, well, hey, he's just World Series challenged.
Now we're going to get a bet out here by,
60 total.
looks like by Andy with a gut shot to the 5.
And the nice thing about Andy's hand is if a 5 comes off, if anybody else had a 4, he would have the absolute nuts.
And Greg makes a little mini raise here, just double the bet, and Andy calls. Here we go to the turn. Turn's a 7.
That doesn't change anything.
You know, you look at how much you can actually add if Andy had 4-6 suited there. The possibility of picking up a backdoor draw
Oh, definitely.
might be there, and obviously he does not have that. $80 bet here by Greg, and Andy's going to fold there.
Now, the problem with Greg's minimum raise, we talk about minimum raises all the time. Now, if the minimum raise, if somebody bets 400 and you minimum raised 800, that's a little bit more significant.
Right.
But if a guy bets like 40 and you make it 80, you get no information whatsoever out of that
Because
raise.
you're almost pricing him into almost calling with any pair if he doesn't think you have 2 pair.
Of course.
Yeah.
You're definitely pricing him in with any draw, any pair, anything like that at all.
Right.
He also probably knows that you're not that strong because he knows, a minimum raise, it's probably more of an informational raise than anything else. Now, once in a while, we do see people min raises with real strength. But you see that play by Andy there, kind of a weaker play there. He min raises and just check and folds. Greg picks up on his weakness.
See number 5 there. He's got ace-jack. He's going to limp in.
Hey, I mean, I don't mean to hammer Philly Al or anybody else or Adam Schoenfeld. I just call a spade a spade. If you enter a significant number of tournaments and you never cash, there's got to be a reason behind it, doesn't there?
I don't know, man. I mean, look at Kenneth James. He didn't have that successful World Series of poker. You're not going to tell me he's not one of the top 30 tournament players out
Cashed
there.
in a couple, though.
Yeah, but what does that mean, though, in the end, Dave? Cashing. It means nothing.
That means you
We're
put
talking about
yourself in
tournament.
a position to possibly get lucky later on in the tournament.
Well, flopped an ace here, and Seat 5 is going to come out and bet. And I'm not even going to attempt to try to butcher his first name, so I'm just going to say Seat 5 the whole night.
Gaetino.
Gaetino. Yeah.
I guess my only thoughts. Think about it. If you don't make it to the money, you can't possibly get to the final table. And if you don't get to the final table, you can't possibly win. So the first step is kind of getting to the money somehow.
Oh, it's Gaetano.
Gaetano, okay.
Good
Gaetano.
luck. Thank you. Good one. See you later.
Gaetano.
Gaetano, I like that. No, obviously, hey, anybody can go. You can go cold. I know that. I know
but
you
at
can
the
go 10, 12
like I
tournaments.
said, though, I think that there are people that might. I'll give you an example. Hollywood Tony Caden, if anybody knows who that guy is. I mean, he's a guy that might bubble and might cash. I don't necessarily know if he has ever a chance to really go deep. Like, if my money is for the guy to win the tournament and want to make a big score, I'm giving my money to Philly Al over him in a heartbeat.
I happen to agree with you.
In a heartbeat.
I happen to agree with you, but there does come a point where, I mean, I don't know, we saw Philly Al, like, in 3 out of the 18 tournaments, he was like the chip leader or the top 5, like, pretty far along into it.
Well, I mean, some guys don't know how to shut that gear off. That's why they either go bust real quick or...
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'd love somebody to give me Adam Schoenfeld's tournament record. Although it still streams for what I've really been hoping for is a website where I don't want to know what somebody's cashes are. I want to know how many tournaments they've entered. That's right. Stick it in there, buddy.
Oh, there he is.
Well, they do it. That's a WPT stop.
What I'm looking for is I really want to know how many tournaments they've entered, so what their success rate actually is.
5-way action here. Ace Queen 8 here on the flop. It was limped around. Interesting post here by John E. saying that he listened to Phil Gordon's podcast show on ESPN, and no mention of Tuckman's win or his generosity to Gordon's charity. Turn is an 8. We got 2 pair here. Actually, we do not have 2 pair. I thought Garland had 2 pair. Gaetano is going to bet out here just as a kind of a pure bluff, not much of a draw. Well, actually, I guess Garland does have 2 pair. He's got queens and 8s.
And Gaetano's got no draw whatsoever, actually. He's
And look at this.
really dead.
Anthony is just smooth called here with an 8. He did not even pop it up here. And here we go to the river. And the river's an 8. Well, how about a big overbet here? You hope that Gaetano has an ace here, like a weak ace, right?
Definitely do. 'Cause remember, he's not going to call you if he's got nothing anyway.
I don't even know. At this point, I think I would just give up if I'm Gaetano. I mean, do you think a guy's going to lay an ace down now?
Well, you got to look at it. So you look at the board. You look at the board and you go, okay, well, ace 8. There's no draw whatsoever. What is this guy calling it with?
He's going to bet 95. I'm serious. Like, I might make it 500 here.
Oh, why not?
He's going to make it 400. And Gaetano is out of there.
I did it last night, actually. The pot was about $150.
Yeah.
And I made a full house in the river. And I had a feeling the guy wouldn't believe me. So I bet 500 to about $150 pot. And he thought about it, and then he paid me off.
Yeah, we were talking about how Jay Siegel actually has a relationship with Phil Gordon donating money to his charity before as well, right?
No, I mean, Phil Gordon's a good guy. I mean, I'm assuming that he was obviously playing in the main event the day I spoke to him.
Yeah.
Probably his mind was elsewhere. But I will contact him when I get back from Vegas. See what goes on. But anyway, to reiterate my point about what is needed out there. If you really want to judge how good somebody is in tournaments, I need to know how many tournaments they're entering and how much money they're putting into these tournaments. Because, hey, if I have $1 million in tournament winnings...
It would be great stats, I just have never seen it before.
That's what I mean. If I have $1 million in tournament winnings, does that make me a good player? Not if it costs me $3 million to play the tournaments.
Right. Well, Gaetano's got ace-king here in the big blind, and Chuck just limped in with tens. And Gaetano's going to raise it up here. And this is a clear-cut case where you can just call if you're Chuck.
Oh, of course.
And he's going to call. And again, even if you had aces here, you could call, right? Sometimes it works out that way.
Yeah, no,
you
definitely.
limped in with kings or aces. So here we go to the flop. It's a $150 pot. Well, Gaetano's got the king.
Yeah, pretty ugly flop there. Gaetano also has the ace of spades. That way you know Chuck is not in there with the nut flush draw. Little things like that you always look for when you're playing this game.
I think it's a little thing. We haven't necessarily mentioned it always on the show. What the ace of spades does there also is that for some reason if the pot gets jammed on a street and you know that guy would not raise with anything less than the nut flush draw or a bluff, and you have the ace of spades, you know it's a bluff.
Right? Exactly. Because there are a lot of players that wouldn't raise you with, let's say they made the straight and they made the 5 high straight, 5-4 spades. Right. They might raise one time, but if you re-raise them and then they re-raise you back, it's very difficult for somebody to do that with
the 5 high flush.
Right. Very difficult for somebody to do that without the nut flush.
Email here by Keith Miller. It says, can't find the 2+2 thread. What is it listed under? Well, if you go to 2+2 spelled out, click on forums, televised poker. And we are right there, official Live the Bike thread for August 8th. A couple more minutes left in the free portion of the Live the Bike show. If you like this, you can click on the on-demand banner, sign up for the archives, get you access to every single show we've ever done.
I mean, to me, it's just the biggest misnomer in poker. The public's view of tournament players. And there's all these great tournament players out there who are all supposedly making tons and tons of money.
Well, I think the trend now, and I almost fell into it a little bit, and I'll get to it at the end of this hand. 4-way action here. Queen, deuce, 4 with a couple of hearts.
Greg's outflopped everybody.
Checked around, turns the ace of spades.
Hey, Garland does not use his position to steal that pot, and you just get to throw it away.
Well, Greg picks up a flush draw now and a pair. He's going to bet 20, and that's probably going to get it done here, and it does. I think kind of both of us, well, I know I did. I almost committed a little bit too much money, plus the disaster I had out of my bankroll to play in tournaments. And you see high-level cash game players that are very, very successful with cash games, say like a Yoshi Nakano, now moving over to tournaments. Liz Liu. They're not necessarily profitable in tournaments, but they know if they can score, then they can get money coming in from other areas besides poker.
100%. I 100% agree with you in that sense.
And we wanted to score so we could promote the show.
Right, exactly. I'm going to go out and say that most tournament players, the majority of tournament players,
Who makes money just playing tournaments?
No, I say the majority of tournament players.
Can you name 5 that make it on their own without ancillary things that just play tournaments?
I'm sure there are 5 out there, but the problem is what you start looking at is the 5 that are making a lot of money. They are all being supported now by the websites.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, Joe Hashim, I don't think he played for one tournament this entire year. And he never will have to, which is great for him.
Well, and you look at Chris Ferguson, who was always that one, I only play tournaments. Of course, he's sponsored by Full Tilt and all of them, too.
Exactly. Now, he wasn't always, and obviously he was a very successful tournament player before that. So I do have a lot of respect for him. And I have respect for all players.
Right.
It's not a matter of not respecting them. It's just a matter of getting the true records out there.
Gaetano raced here with ace-queen, and Andy is called out of position with ace-5. He is dominated, and there's the ace. Let's see how this one's going to go out here, Dave. We always talk about this. Well, he's going to throw a little feeler bet out here, looks like. And how is Gaetano going to play it? Going to bet a $100 bet. Let's see what Gaetano's going to do. He is going to make it $300.
And that's not a bad raise there, because if you get repopped, you can probably throw it away. But if you don't get repopped, now you are in control and you can control the pot size.
My question to you, though, is if the guy calls the raise, are you forced to check the turn? Now, there are diamonds out there.
I probably bet one more time
Yeah.
because of the diamond draw, plus the straight draw. There's also 7-8 as a draw.
Right.
I probably bet one more time and check the river, unless I think this guy has a weak ace. Obviously, you've got to make a read there.
Always, it just goes to what we say about betting out with your sets, that you're going to win a lot more money if you bet out with your sets. If the guy bet out with a set of sixes there, and he maneuvered the pot in such a way that he won more.
Right. Speaking of a set of sixes, last night, true to my word, true to our word, I sat down in the 5-10 game. About 5 minutes into it, I was sitting down with Joe Wynn and Paul, our seasoned turkey, and all these guys. I flop a set of sixes against the player. I bet right into him. He raises me. I re-raise. He moves all in.
Yeah.
He had pocket aces. And he just couldn't believe that I would actually bet my set right away.
Right.
Could not believe it.
Pocket kings here for seat 9. He's going to bring it in for 60.
Here?
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about from Dana to
Ocean, 25 minutes. Yeah.
Email here from Marcos, and I'll get to it in a second.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Right through there, it's just wide open. I can leave my. If I hit it right, it's 17 minutes north.
Gaetano's got queen 9 suited here. He's going to call.
Now, I mean, nothing wrong with calling that in position. There really isn't, as long as you're not looking for a queen.
And I would think you'd have to be pretty deep, and the other guy would have to be pretty
Right,
deep.
exactly. And it looks
That guy
like
looks, he's got 1,000. I mean, I don't know. Well, look at this. He flops a gut shot and spades with an overcard.
and that's a pretty big flop.
That's about as big as it gets with queen 9.
Now, the problem here is you're pretty much committing yourself. I mean, to me, you almost have to move all in here. I mean, what are you doing? Okay.
$150 bet and a smooth call. This pot is
it's only
quickly
$150, okay.
over $400, and there's the flush. Now, Greg's got the king of spades,
Yeah, he does.
and he's going to continue to bet.
And I say, why not raise it right here now?
And there it
sure
is.
enough, he is.
Gaetano moves all in, and Greg might feel committed that he needs to call here.
Now, I think he is committed here with the king of spades. Now, notice how physical tell. Notice how Gaetano did not put his chips in the pot.
He makes the call. He's all in, and Greg's going to need to hit a spade. It does not come, and Gaetano there is going to double through with the queen 9. Now, the only issue that I had there, Dave, was Gaetano makes a $60 raise. He's got 1,000 left. You call. You're getting maybe
15 to 1.
17 or 18 something to 1. Queen 9 might not necessarily even be as good as a mid-suited connector. Just because of the fact that maybe you might get involved in some of your cards might be a little bit dead. Plus, it's a 2-gapper. I just don't know if I make that call with those stack sizes.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a questionable call. It really is. Obviously, there are different reasons. I'm not sure if maybe Gaetano thought he could outplay Greg. Maybe he thought maybe Greg had a big, just big cards.
Right.
And he could use his position and take it away. Obviously, you never know exactly what's going on in Gaetano's head.
So Marcus says, hey guys. Marco says, hey guys, I agree with David. If someone's been in 18 tournaments and can't cash in at least one, he probably isn't a very good player. Anyone can get lucky once or twice, but 18 tournaments and not $1 return. Wow.
In sandwich. Yeah. Sometimes the best decisions are the ones you pull.
Yeah.
You have a dirty stack. Purple.
Get a raise here from Andy. Andy's got Queen Jack suited. Makes it $40 to go in kind of earliest position. He looks like he's going to buy himself the button here. And actually, he might just buy himself the pot, and he does.
Queen Jack of spades.
Takes it down.
Yep.
I mean, to compare it to like a baseball, okay? And I know baseball is so statistics, stats oriented, right? Can you imagine if we were to look at somebody's career and said, hey, well, look at Joe Johnson. He has 1,800 hits. But, Pierre whatever only has 600 hits.
Right.
Well, clearly Joe Johnson's a better player, right? I mean, it's almost
But the
that
guy has
ridiculous.
10,000 more at bats.
Exactly. It's almost that ridiculous at the fact that we're looking at, career earnings for tournament players.
Well, I mean, maybe in this age of computerization and everything, we can start doing it. But I remember, even Legends up to 2 years ago, it was just like a slip of paper. There was no records.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to put it out there, and obviously we do have access to 2+2, and hopefully somebody will kind of grab the bull by the horns here. and take it with him. I mean, at this point here, I think it's ridiculous we don't have better records.
Limped around here. 5-way action. $50 pot. 7-6-6 here, and Gaetano's got trip sixes.
Yep. Now, we do have a couple of interesting hands in here. George is open-ended with 8-5.
Yeah, up and down open-ended. And Greg's got a pair of sevens. Is Greg going to stay in there? He checked it. Yeah, he's going to check call.
Now, if the 9 were to come, would Greg get involved? He'd have 2 pair, actually 3 pair. Obviously,
Yeah,
not
but his
2 pair
2 pair would play, though. He'd have 9s
It would,
and
that's what I mean.
sevens.
So would he get involved with 9-7?
Here we go to the turn. Turn's a 4,
Wow.
and George makes the straight.
And is Gaetano going to go?
Let's see if George leads right out, and he is going to lead out. He bet 75 here. And Gaetano looks like he is going to raise right away here. And now the question is, how hard can you play this for George? He's going to make it 100 more.
I got to tell you, I like George's hand better than I like Gaetano's hand. I mean, Gaetano's got to realize, okay, this guy could have a straight.
Right, but I'm saying if you're in George's spot, how hard can you play it? And he just calls because of the paired board.
Of course, obviously.
Pot's about $500, and the river is a 7. Oh, man. And it goes check, check.
Well, Gaetano's got to hate that hand too, but
Yeah.
Gaetano's got to realize that George does not have a 7 there. He's not in there the whole way with a 7.
So would you bet there for value with the
I
6?
think so. If George checks to me,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he doesn't have a 7.
Right.
You know what I mean? Why not bet it? Now, I don't think George is going to call anyway.
We are here live at the bike playing 5-10 no limit.
I mean, that's the power of position. That's the reason you're in position.
You can email us at liveatthebike.com. Let's take a look at the first chip counter of the night.
Yeah, we got about $12,000 on the table. Gaetano's at the table covered with $3,200. George's got $2,100 now. Matt is bringing up the rear there with $500. Let's see how they're doing. Gaetano out $1,500 already. George up $1,000. And Anthony and Greg are each down about $1,000. We'll keep track of this throughout the evening.
Ace King here for Gus over in seat 3.
So maybe somebody can give us a link of Adam Schoenfeld's tournament records.
Or I can take a look at it right
Yeah,
here.
I'm curious.
Looks like Gus
But
is going to
really,
race.
$200,000 invested in the World Series of Poker and never a cash? I mean, that's insane, isn't it? How is that possible?
So Gus is going to raise it up here with Ace King. And Anthony is in there with a dominated ace here. Ace 5 suited. Well, both players miss. Let's see how Gus is going to play it out of position.
Always a tough spot to be. Well, Gus checked it here. And, you know, Anthony's going to say, okay, I'll use my power position and I'm going to bet it. And Gus is just going to throw it away. Real passive way to play Ace King there, isn't it? I have a lot of respect for Gus's game. It's funny, you know, Gus and Kelsey always playing the game. And they're kind of, in a weird way, obviously they're both very good friends, intertwined. But over the last few months, I've got to tell you, Kelsey's game has really been elevating. While Gus's game, I got to be honest, is somewhat stagnated. He'll probably kill me for that, but hey, honesty hurts. I'm getting a glimpse of here of Adam Schoenfeld's record, and obviously he's got a lot of cashes, but doesn't really give me much information. What are his career?
Two final tables. Well, I guess it's only one final table at a WPT event.
And what are his career earnings?
$362,000.
So he's earned $362. Now he's already put $200 into the World Series and hasn't cashed at all.
Right.
But you wonder, you think he's up or down for his career?
Got a raise here by George with 5-3 of hearts on the button, opening it up, and he's going to take it down.
Just for the record, aren't Adam Schoenfeld, him and Evelyn Ng, were they an item?
Yeah, I think they definitely were, or they still are.
Yeah, seems so fitting, you know.
And a good chunk of that money actually came in 2004. According to this on Hendon Mob, he didn't win anything in 2006 yet.
So 05 and 06 have been like just crash outs. And if you look at 2004, he won almost 90% of it in one tournament where he made a final table at WPT.
I think he's just become the story because he was with Evelyn Ng and you know, he did make a WPT final table in 2004, kind of at the height of televised poker.
Okay, there you go. And I just want to point out one thing. Remember Steve, the drunk guy who plays stud high low?
Yeah.
He won an event here once.
Yeah, I heard he was also very drunk at the time too, right?
Yes, oh,
Yeah.
he was wasted off his ass. And he not only made a final table, but won it. So,
Three-way action here, limped around ace-3 king. Looks like George got the best hand here with 4s. Frank Mariani won. I think he won a stud-high-low tournament in Legends, and he was wasted. I think that was last year, right?
you know,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You know what? I'm going to go on a limb here and risk offending people because that's what I do here. I don't really care. I'm sorry. When I had Paul in the booth and we were talking, and I had Joe Wynn in the booth and we talk about it, as poker players, we have one way to keep score. Okay? People have good luck, people have bad luck. But at the end of the year, you pretty much look at your records. If you're up, you're doing okay. If you're down, you're not doing very well.
Yeah.
Okay? There's no if, ands, or buts. I mean, that's it. You're either a good player or you're not a good player, and the records speak for themselves. And if you look at a player like Philly Al, he was having a great little run for it. But how do you go 0 for 18 if you look at his records the years past? I'm sorry, I don't know how you backed him. Whatever.
I'm sure they woke him up or something.
I hope he wins 2 Legends, only because my friend Bart has backed him. I really do.
Three-way action here, limped around.
Although I will say it's the curse of karma there.
9-7-4 here. Anthony's going to lead out with a couple of overcards with King Jack.
To not wake up.
And how about news for that? Jay Kachitani last night actually made the final table of the Omaha.
Oh, the
event.
Omaha. Yeah, he plays Omaha in tournaments. I've never seen him play in a live ring game. But he does play in tournaments.
And Adam Schoenfeld, obviously I actually never played with Adam. Actually, no, I have played with Adam. I played 8160 limit hold'em with him last year at the World Series.
At the Bellagio.
Yeah, and he seemed like an okay player. We were just talking it up. Actually, he was trying to get me to buy Evelyn Ng's seat. Remember last year?
That's right.
So I was talking to him about that. Seemed like a really nice guy. Like I say, this is no personal attack on these guys. Seems like a really nice guy. But I got to tell you, 60 events at the World Series and you never cash? Man.
Well, it is a little bit rough for guys like us to go in and play 2 or 3 tournaments, and that's what Mike Cairo said too. And then, someone says, "Oh, you're not a professional poker player because you haven't had any type of, legitimate or substantial tournament wins because you've only played 4 in 1 year."
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll put it this way. I've played 10 World Series events, and I've cashed in 3. I'm not saying I'm a great tournament player. I'm not even saying I'm a good poker player. Actually, yeah, right. And Ray correctly pointing out that I actually won one. I'm sorry. But I didn't cash in it, though. So I'm sorry, 11 World Series events. 3 in the money, 1 I won.
Button moves over here to seat 6. Matt in the big blind here. The game has kind of tightened up.
Yeah, it really has. I mean, the first 20 minutes we were having a raise every single hand.
Open raise here under the gun with pocket 7s here from Greg. Looks like he's going to make it 45 to go.
Am I annoying you with this conversation because you backed Philly Al?
No, not at all. I mean, it's definitely something that
I mean,
said, but I'm not
way.
going to rag on the guy.
Would you ever back him again?
Well, I haven't bailed out yet. I can sell my shares out of the corporation. I'm going to let it go through. So.
Yeah, but at this point, they're worth like $200 each, right?
It's got like a third of our money left. Might as well just...
Yeah, no, I see. Why not get a shot?
Yeah.
And Philly Al, he's the type of player that if he scores, he can score big. He could make $100,000.
Button moves over here to seat 7. Big blind here in seat 9.
I'm listening to this conversation, this inane conversation between Ronnie, our card boy, and Donna, our floor assistant. And she actually asked him, "Who would you put in, Ronnie?" And Ronnie goes, "Oh, I'd put in Philly Allen." He goes, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, he's due." It's almost as if, you're walking through the casino and you see 8 blacks in a row on the roulette table, and you go, "Oh, it's going to be red. It's got to be red. It's due."
I heard you said 45. That's why I just 10.
Anthony's going to raise it up here on the button. He's got pocket 8s. $60. Now, Gus limped in with Jack 10 of diamonds from up front. No one else is in there. Is he going to get involved out of position with this hand?
I got to tell you, heads up, you're not that deep. Yeah, look, he's looking around.
He's got probably
Actually, you're right.
1,500.
It's funny, if you have a real hand on the player you're playing against, you can call a lot more hands.
Right. And Anthony takes it down there. Again, we're playing 5-10 no limit. Yellows are $5 chips. Whites are hundreds. Tomorrow, Boston will be in the booth with me, and on Friday, and the lovely Nicole will be in the booth with me on Thursday.
Wow.
Button here moves over to Matt.
And I'm sure they won't be nearly as offensive as I am.
I just, it does bother me a little bit that, especially as we try to go and try to promote ourselves and promote this show on different media outlets, that sometimes people that don't know all that much about poker don't necessarily consider us or anybody that plays cash games pros because we haven't been on TV
Have
before.
you told the story about the Bluff Radio girl, Gloria?
No, actually I didn't.
You haven't
I
told
didn't.
that story, 'cause
No.
I mean, that was almost sickening.
Yeah. Chopped up here.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, please. You tell it so much better than I do.
You tell stories better than I do.
No, really, you do.
Well, we went up there and we were trying to get on Bluff Poker Radio. We were actually trying to do some of the commentary, the live commentary from the final tables. And it was a little bit our fault because they had broadcasted live commentary from each event's final tables. And we went there, it was during the beginning of the main event. And they said basically that, that they weren't going to be doing any commentary. They were just going to be having people on the show. And she said that for the first 4 days, they were keeping it to pros. That they couldn't have us on because they were keeping it to pros. We could come on like the 5th or the 6th day with like kind of tournament directors, such like that, like Denny Williams.
Right.
Yeah.
I was pretty sure she actually said I could bring my mommy on.
Yeah. I mean, I was a little bit shocked.
Right.
But
We're going to
again,
stick to pros. Like,
but I mean, she
it's not her fault. She
probably
doesn't know. She was like an intern.
Yeah,
had no
yeah,
idea.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as she's concerned, she looks at somebody like, Evelyn Ng to her is a pro.
Right.
We are not. Paul is not a pro.
Right.
Mo is not a pro because they don't recognize them.
Got a raise here. If Gabe Thaler hadn't played in tournaments, he wouldn't be a pro.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So Matt is
Corporation
raised
Mike
at
is not a
9.
pro.
Three-way action here. Well, there's the 9 and a set of deuces here for George. So Matt's got top pair. Let's see what George is going to do. Looks like he's going to bet right into it here.
Uncanny how Ronnie had the deuces up there first like he knew.
Yeah. He's going to bet 60. I really do like George's game here. Now, Andy's got a gut shot here to the 3. Two hearts out there.
Look at George with the set of deuces, kind of like,
Yeah.
I'm going to faux read here. I'm going to actually pretend like I'm interested in my magazine.
Is Matt even going to get involved here? He is playing short stack poker. It's a $60 bet. And he's going to raise.
And I got to tell you, I don't mind because of. Well, actually, wait a second. Are those $100 chips that?
Yeah, it looks like he's got. It looks like he might have 800 more. Let's see
So
how
he did
George is going
rebuy.
to finagle it.
Oh, wow, okay. It's an interesting play here. Do you check call and lead out on the turn again?
Or do
you raise right away?
Do you call the raise here and then lead out?
You don't want an action killer to come off.
I mean, the problem here for Matt, Matt's a good enough player where if you were to re-raise right away, Matt would probably get rid of one pair here, right?
Right. The problem is, though, is if Matt is on a flush draw, if Matt has a 7-8, if
Right.
he has a flush draw here, you don't want a scary card to come up to either scare yourself or scare him.
And George is going to re-raise, and I think this is an easy lay down here for Matt now.
Oh, yeah. Very easy lay down.
Now, the problem here, though, if Matt had aces here, it wouldn't be so easy, right?
No, of course not, because
Yeah.
George could easily have jacks, queens, kings.
Yeah.
But right now, Matt can't beat anything. Now, the problem is the board is somewhat draw heavy. Once again, 7-8 is a straight draw. Hearts. Does Matt think maybe George is making a move with a big draw?
Could George do this with 3-4 hearts? I think I
Exactly.
might do this with
I was
3-4
gonna say the
hearts.
same thing.
Yeah.
7-5 of hearts. Any of those hands like that.
Again, though, if you put him on a range of hands, if that's the best that you're going to see, when he's probably almost favored with 2 cards to come with that hand anyways,
Right.
why
I mean,
get involved?
If you start thinking of all the hands that he has, and now with that amount of raise, Matt is almost pot committing himself.
Right.
And in this case, he's drawing dead, virtually. He needs running.
I mean, worst case scenario, you're up against a set. Best case scenario, you're up against a huge draw. I think it's probably an easy laydown, right?
Yeah. And that's the thing. People have to realize that when they start thinking about it, they go, well, I think the guy's on a draw. Okay, so at best, you're 60-40 favorite. And at worst, you're like, in this case, 94-6 underdog.
Well, Matt can't beat pocket jacks or 10s here either.
No, there's nothing he can beat. This is an easy laydown. You keep pointing out, if George has got a gut shot with a flush draw, he's got 12 outs, which almost makes him 50-50.
He's re-raised 300 back here, and the pot right now is about 600, 300 for Matt to call. I gotta be honest with you, I'm surprised Matt's even taking this much time with it. I mean, obviously we are privy to seeing the cards. But I gotta tell you, I played with Matt a good amount, and I played with him this afternoon. And sometimes he really, relies on his reads, and if he got a read, he will go with it.
You wonder, now Matt's been running a little bad lately. I know he's been telling me that, and you wonder if that's going to affect his decision here. I hope it doesn't. I think he knows. And I think if he looks back at this later on, I think he knows it's a pretty easy laydown. I mean, he's almost playing it like he has 2 pair, or he's got like 7-8 or hearts or something like that.
Or like aces or kings.
Yeah. I mean, king 9, I mean, you don't got much. You're on. And Ronnie and I are betting a Red Bull here. I think he's going to fold. Ronnie thinks he's going to call.
Matt's trying to get a little banter, a little reaction.
I think I've had about 4 or 5 prop bets in the live at the bike booth. I'm literally 4 for 4. I've never lost one. And this will be 5 for 5 pretty soon.
You got a big draw?
I'm ahead of you.
Well, George is telling me he's ahead of him. Again, though, even a big draw, if that's the best case scenario, Dave.
At the best case scenario, he's got what?
15 outs?
5 of hearts?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right.
14 outs, 13 outs.
I don't want sugar-free, Ronnie. Regular Red Bull will do.
All right.
And Matt lays it down.
Thank you. That's 5 for 5 on props. Now, back to tournament play, because I don't want people to misconstrue what we're saying. We have a lot of respect for tournament players. At least I do. And the tournament grind is so difficult to know that you're playing 14 hours, 15 hours, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row. That is extremely difficult, and I have nothing but respect. I mean, Alan Cunningham, what a phenomenal player he is. I actually noticed that on his day off during the main event, he was playing in the 5100 blind no limit game at the Bellagio. Now this guy, he's a guy who can play everything. Alan Cunningham, one of the best players out there. He really is absolutely fantastic. Phil Ivey, players like that.
Well, one of the interesting things, again, everyone that's watching this is an archive subscriber. If you go back, and I want to say it's file 7, and I might be wrong, the Barry Greenstein episode from Vegas last week, he was talking about how a lot of people think, oh, only a young person's going to win the main event. He actually went with the opposite, saying that he doesn't need to exude the amount of mental energy that, say, his son does in a tournament because he's so experienced that he's seen a lot more situations that these young guys can do. He'll go and play a cash game all night long and come back and play the tournament the next day.
Right.
While these guys are mentally drained, he's fresh.
Exactly, where you and I, now obviously you and I are getting a little better at it in the sense that we're getting pretty quick at analyzing hands from this job.
Another set here, set for Garland. Doesn't look like anyone really has much, though.
And Garland checks it.
Garland checked it.
Dangerous check there, you know?
Well, I mean, it's a rainbow board. Chuck's going to bet with 7s.
No, just dangerous in the sense that you might not build a separate pot.
It's not really that aggressive of a table.
Right, exactly. That's what I mean.
Let's see how Garland's going to play this.
I'd probably rather bet a little bit. I hope a jack calls me.
You were drawing that.
And now he's going to check raise.
No, you were drawing.
And when he check raises, if the guy had something like Jack 9 or Jack 10 or Queen Jack, it's an easy fold.
I was actually going to say the same thing. If this guy's got Jack 10 and you bet, he's going to call. But if you check raise, it's an easy laydown.
That's the whole point. That's how you build yourself a pot. Remember, the pot was about $70. So let's say you bet 50. Jack 10 calls.
Right.
Okay, well now you bet 75 or 100. Jack 10 calls. Now you can bet 200. Jack 10 maybe calls. And that's how you build yourself a pot.
As opposed to checking, the guy bets 50, you check raise him now, and now he easily folds
Exactly.
one pair.
You're letting him off the hook.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny, on a more draw-heavy board, I always say, it's a dangerous check because someone might take a card on a draw-heavy board, but on a more draw-heavy board, you actually might want to check raise to drive out some of the draws also.
You might want to, yeah.
On that case, it was a little bit different.
Yeah.
Not really maximizing.
Yeah. Now back to what Barry Greenstein was saying, 100% correct, because I think a lot of players that are less experienced and then haven't seen as many hands, when somebody makes an unusual play at them, they sometimes go in the tank and have to really think it through. What's going on? What happened? Well, Barry Greenstein has seen this 1,000 times, and he can make that decision really quick.
I want to read an email that we got from Barry Woods here last night. Another set here. This time for Garland again. See how he plays it now. Now he's going to lead out. 2 sets in a row here. Ace, 9, king with a couple spades. Now, Greg has got ace rag. He's not going to get involved. No one really has much of a flush draw. No one has anything here. And look at it, Garland shakes his head. I'll read it verbatim here. Again, if people were watching the show. What? You don't want me to read it? You think it was more like of a negative email?
No, I just think it's a personal email.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Far be it from me to offend anyone.
No. I mean, it's just okay. You read it if you want to. I'm just saying. I mean, I think it's whatever. For whatever reason, I think he's clearly gotten offended.
I'll leave you guys hanging.
Well, now you got to read it. I don't know.
Button moves over here to Garland.
Oh, jeez.
No. It was just you don't have to read it verbatim. It was just Barry took exceptions with some of the comments that we made last night about two specific hands that we mentioned: the pocket threes and the aces against eights.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you really ever think that Barry Woods is offended?
I don't know. The email you read, it almost seems like he is a little bit. You don't think so? Maybe I'm wrong.
10-7 deuce here with a couple hearts. And Chuck's got a set now. 3 sets in a row here. Chuck in seat 6 has a set. He's played it tight all night long. Now Gus has got a dry flush draw here. He is in position. And look at this. Chuck checks over to Garland, and Garland's going to take a shot at it here with the semi-bluff. He's got Jack 9. He's got a gut shot to the 8. And let's see if Chuck is going to raise. No, he's going to slow play it, Dave. Well, this might bring Gus in. You never know. He is drawing to the lowest flush here. But Check is check-called here with 7s. Now, the problem here, though, is he's check-called. Does that mean he's going to check the turn as well? And I got to tell you, if the turn's a whiff, both Gus and Garland are going to take cards here.
Of course.
So here we go to the turn. And the turn is a 9. Garland picks up a pair. I still think he might take a card.
Yeah, why not? It's not the card he's looking for.
Remember, Chuck check-called the flop. Let's see what he's going to do now.
Yeah, just trying to think of what to do here. How do I get money in the pot?
It's an open-ended straight draw now if anyone had an 8.
Yeah, that's a dangerous card there.
He is actually going to lead out. I'll give him credit there. He's not going to give a free card out.
And he's going to win this right here.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll read the email here from Barry Woods. Okay, guys, when you can only express your opinion or your side of the analysis, please leave me out of the conversation. As an example, and he was talking about the hand I had with him. David, if I bet the turn when the king appeared and you put me on kings or queens, you would have folded. By checking, I get you to bet out on the river and then call $2,000 raise. I played it well in spite of your revered opinion. Barry Woods. And obviously, hey, when you play against somebody, and obviously we're both friends with Barry, he's a good guy. We get paid to put our opinion out there.
I don't think that was necessarily a
well, I left the
the F word out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's true.
It wasn't quite verbatim. But that's part of the game. I mean, obviously, when you're playing against players often, players' ego gets involved. They don't want to be second guessed.
Yeah, it's a drive up.
And a lot of money's involved, and people get there. People get that adrenaline flowing. People can get a little upset sometimes. Obviously, we don't do it to upset them, but hey, if we do upset them, it's only a bonus.
Saucy Dave Tuckman, Brian Tushman. 6-way action here. Ace-10 Jack here with a couple of diamonds. Well, Gaetano's got bottom 2 pair here. 2 diamonds out there, very connected board. And he is going to bet here. He's on the button. He's going to bet 60. I've kind of had a second feeling about, or second thoughts to a way to play this hand. Now, obviously, if I'm in position, I'm going to bet.
Right.
Earlier on when I was playing No Limit full time, I might say, well, why don't you check raise here, really put a lot of heat on the flop? How about you wait for a safe card if there's 6 people in there?
Yeah, you've also got to realize that if you do put a lot of heat on it, you might only get called by a better hand.
Yeah.
Remember, you have the bottom 2 pair. Somebody's not going to call you with ace-king
right.
or ace-9 here.
But again, though, if you check raise and 3 people call you in position because you're all deep, there almost isn't a card that you want to see there on the turn unless like an offsuit card below 7.
Right, obviously
7
a full house card.
Yeah, full house card or a 7
right, but even
below that's not a diamond.
What's the stop? Let's say you check raise big and a couple of people call you. What's to stop one of those players from smooth calling you with king-queen, the absolute nuts?
Right.
And now you're betting into the nuts.
Pot control in this game is just
Oh,
I think it's so huge.
this game is really defined by pot control,
Right.
position, playing hands in position. That's funny. We talk about tournaments, and we're kind of going on that point here. A lot of players that obviously have been so good between Phil Ivey, Alan Cunningham, Chris Ferguson, Scott Fishman. But there are so many players out there that are considered pros that I really don't think make a living playing just tournaments.
Oh, of course not. 10-10-8 here. It was 11th round. King 10 there for Matt. He's got trip 10s. And he checked it, Dave. He checked it. Queen 9's got a gut shot here to the jack. And he's going to bet 20. See what Matt is going to do here. $20 bet here by Chuck. George is not in the hand with ace-8. And Matt is gonna check raise. Chuck easily folds. Again, kind of a tightish table here.
Definitely tightened up here.
Going for that jack.
Just had a question. What's the career earnings of like an Evelyn Ng?
Yeah, it's probably.
Well, I mean, we can look that up.
Yeah.
She did make. I mean, she made it. I don't necessarily know if she's ever made a final table, but she has made it. I think a couple of times deep. This is off the top of my head.
Yeah, no, I know that.
Deep,
I know
like
that.
in Aruba,
Of
and
course, she
I think
obviously
one of
knows-
the WPT championship. He actually.
She obviously knows how to play.
Right.
That's not even a question.
Oh, I was.
It's just a question of, does she make enough money from tournaments to support herself?
I didn't even see that.
Does she play cash games on the side?
I know I've seen her playing 8160
Yeah.
at the Bellagio, so I can only assume yes.
That's a really, really well.
Button moves over here to seat 7.
I lost the minimum.
You know, it's funny. I got to defend my girl Liz Liu because I've read all these things about how a lot of these online players think that she's a fish and all this. She worked her way up from 5-5 limit in Colorado to the point where she's playing 800, 1600 limit hold'em.
Yeah, but she's also, you got to remember, I mean, you look at Liz Liu, if you want to talk about an accomplished player, not only does she play the biggest limit games in the world,
Yeah,
not only will she take a challenge and challenge, what was it, Eric 1-2-3?
Right.
And beat him 2 out of 3 times. But she'll also, I'm sorry, I completely lost my train of thought there. Jesus. Things we have to deal with here. But she also, I mean, just started taking up tournament play. She gets a final table last year in the World Series. I mean, her tournament record is actually pretty impressive already.
well, I mean, she made that final table last year. I don't think she had that successful of a...
She didn't play that many events this year.
No, she did. She played over 10 events.
Okay.
Oh.
Not 18.
I mean, now we're debating about semantics here.
Did she cash it all this year?
I don't think so.
Really?
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't think so. Now, we had a raise here by Andy with pocket 4s, and the flop comes king, king, 6. Well, it really hasn't hit anybody here. Gaetano's got the best hand. He does not bet out here with 8s.
We're on seat 6.
And now Chuck is going to bet 50 here with ace queen. Now, is Gaetano just going to play this as a check call from up front? And what about the preflop raiser with 4s here?
Their eyes are awesome.
Well, Andy's going to get away from it. Well, Gaetano's going to call. Again, you always talk about how if you bet your king out, turns a jack.
Chuck has got a lot of outs here. He can catch an ace, a queen, or a 10 to win this pot.
Well, you wonder if this guy's sandbagging a king, would you just take a card here? With ace queen?
You might want to. The problem is, though, you're not sure what his king is with. If he has a king in his hand, he could very easily have king jack, ace king, king queen, or king 10. You'd almost be drawing dead.
Well, he's going to bet again. I mean, there's two schools of thought there on that turn. If he was calling with something like pocket 8s or pocket 9s or a 6, it's another overcard. But he calls again with 8s.
Wow.
And the river is a 7. He checks again. And Chuck is just going to give up here.
And you know what? I don't mind the give up here at the end. At that point, you almost got to put this guy in a king, or just some hand that he's not willing to throw away.
Too big.
That's all you have. That's all it took.
Thank you for it.
Oh, I still be ready.
Liz Liu, of course, won a limit tournament over at the LA Poker Classic earlier this year in January. $1,000 limit tournament. Yeah, she doesn't look like she cashed in any of the
No, it
World
doesn't
Series
look like
events.
No, I was wondering what I was saying.
I can only assume that it's been
Now, she only
updated already.
plays Hold'em.
Right.
So
And she doesn't play all the events.
Yeah, yeah. Well, she only plays Hold'em.
Now, she cashed in 3 last year. World Series events.
Yeah. The big 5th place win in. But you got to figure, even, I might go out on a limb and say if she's traveled the circuit, we're looking at a record here, she might just be even.
In tournaments,
In
right.
tournaments for the year.
But the fact that she plays on the side, she plays 800, 1600, of course.
Yeah. But saying if she was just going to play tournaments, she might not necessarily have won any money.
Extremely
either.
difficult.
Yeah.
Now, just for the record, Liz Liu, who's only been playing tournaments for a couple of years, really.
Well, really, only 1 year.
Yeah. Her lifetime
Jack
earnings,
7-10
I'm
here on the
curious.
flop.
Her lifetime earnings have already surpassed Adam Schoenfeld's, by the way.
379,000.
Yeah.
Now we had a bet here, and George is called here. He's got a gut shot here. Check on the turn. The river's a 3. Greg just took a well. He's had a pair of 7s. Let's see if George is going to throw a little bluff bet out here. He does. He bets 80.
And it's the best hand. Hey, 9 high is the best hand.
Well, Greg's got a pair of 7s though.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Gets him off it. Now we're looking at Evelyn Ng's stats here.
Yeah, she got 39th in the WPT Championship.
Now she came on she really exploded when she came in 2nd place in the World Poker Tour Ladies Night event,
Right, in
which was the
2003.
6-person invitational.
Right.
Daniel Negreanu was actually teaching her, kind of her
Right.
her student there, and she has a couple of final tables here. I'm looking at. See, now she has a bunch of preliminary
Well, she was
preliminary
invited
matches.
to all those things.
Exactly,
She
the
has
Battle
that
of the
stuff.
Sexes. Okay, so
Right.
she comes in 3rd place in that.
Right.
The grand finale, Battle of the Sexes, she won 15,000. Okay,
Right.
well.
Buttons over here in George's hands.
Now this is her best finish actually was in September of 05, where she came in 11th place in WPT event in Borgata.
9-8-7 here, limped around. Well, looks like Chuck's got King 10. He's open-ended. It's a rainbow board here. And that's going to get checked around here. Turns a deuce. And he's got the best hand here with 9-4. And now he's going to bet 50.
Nice.
He's going to bet 50 here. And looks like he is going to take it down. Well, Evelyn Ng, she cashed 1 time in the World Series. You got to think she played probably in at least 10 events, right?
Oh, I would say more than
Yeah.
that. I'd say more like 25 events, but yeah.
In the 2000 no limit shootout, she got 97, so she made $2,800. But again, you wonder if she's putting up her own money. Because I'd heard that PokerStars dropped her before the World Series of Poker.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure. I'm assuming she must have sponsorship somewhere, though, across the board. And obviously, we're not doing this to bash Evelyn Ng, although I always seem to.
Yes, you do. Always.
But it's more of just showing that the tournament circuit is not necessarily an easy way to make a living. I would say less than 3 or 4% of tournament players make a living playing tournaments only.
Got a raise here with Ace Queen here out of Chuck. This is the first raise he's had all night long, Dave. And Greg is going to call him with King 9 of Hearts. Here we go to the flop. Queen 8-3. Well, Chuck's got top pair.
Yeah, Greg's completely missed this flop.
Again, if you want to email us live at thebike.com for a hand for blog, for the video blog on Thursday, I will be doing it solo.
You're not going to do it, Nicole?
I do not believe so.
Okay.
Chuck's going to bet 65 here.
Do you miss me when I'm not here?
Stop trying to, with the inflection in your voice, try to talk English or something like that. It's going to make me puke.
Is that English?
But
Can you
moves
feel
over
the
here to
love?
C3. You know what I'm saying? When you raise like everything, like it's a question at the end of the sentence.
Is that what English people do?
Yeah, of course.
Really?
You didn't notice that?
I didn't.
You're just doing it subconsciously?
I can't hear anything. You already know I barely hear half of what you say.
Matt's got Ace Queen here in seat 8.
Yes. Please stick to that.
Matt's saying the standard raise is 40, so he's going to make it 40.
40. 250 like you did before.
That was a re-raise.
And 40 for me and you, I think that's a little small for this game.
I don't raise 40 in this game really, unless like I'm an open raise like on the button with a pretty big hand, and the guy's kind of short. in the blinds. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
if he's
the
got
only-
like 200 behind, I might raise to 40 with aces.
Four-handed, five-handed.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll make it 40.
Yeah,
But in a full ring game, no way.
Andy has called with king 8 of diamonds here, and Matt has totally missed.
Yeah. Well, Matt's got a gut shot here.
Yeah.
Needs a 10 for the straight.
King Jack 7, and he just check folds. You wonder if you can call some of these players with any 2 cards in position, and if they miss, they'll just check to you.
Yeah. So it looks like.
It
It was funny, when the game started out, it really looked like a blockbuster game. It's kind of stopped to a crawl here.
I wish I had that.
We're done with the first hour of the show.
I wish it was that good.
Getting word that there was 443 entries into Legends, so probably at least maybe 250 or 300 rebuys, optional add-on.
Right. Probably looking at about a 140 grand prize pool.
Yeah.
Not bad. First place at probably $45,000 or $50,000. I can always count on Kev Meth, man. He rocks. It says here regarding Adam Schoenfeld. He went through my 2005 main event tape where he found the feature on him. His record is 5 years at the World Series of Poker, 24 tournaments, $107,000 invested, 0 earned. Figure in the $10,000 for the 2005 main event, and that takes him to at least $117,000 lost. Not including, obviously, expenses or whatever he spent this year.
You know, it's funny. We were talking about how we saw a lot of these young, hotshot young guns in some of these specialty tournaments.
Yeah.
And I walked around during the day that they were doing the Kansas City No Limit event, the Deuce to 7 single draw No Limit
That
event.
Daniel Lai won.
And Daniel Alayi won, and David Williams came in second place.
It's
and you made a
insane.
good point by saying that it was a no-limit tournament.
Right.
So,
Those guys are familiar with
Yeah.
no-limit play.
Exactly.
And obviously they took that no-limit theory to a
Right.
new game.
Right.
But it really, a lot of testament to Daniel and to David
Right.
that they were able to pick up that game so quickly.
5-way action here, limped around. Ace 3-6 rainbow. And Gaetano's going to bet here with Ace 10. He's going to bet 45. Tomorrow, of course, we're going to have 20-40 no limit hold'em, uncapped buy-in.
Game tomorrow night should be insane.
Phil Locke in Vegas?
No, he's still in Vegas. He won't
Yeah.
be back in town, back in LA until mid-August.
Oh, okay.
Probably till
He plans on playing Legends, right?
he's going to play in Legends for sure, and because he's usually in LA, like I said after we talked, he's probably going to be here. I would say at least once a month, maybe even twice a month, playing in the 2040 game because it now is unrestricted.
Right.
He hated the fact that it was a $5,000 restricted buy-in.
Well, that was when it was 5,100. Yeah. But
He didn't mind it being 5,100. He said he'd play that.
Right.
He just didn't want to be restricted. He wanted to buy in for 100,000 or 50,000 or whatever he wanted to buy in for.
No, I think 20-40 is fine for him. I think, like I said, I think that's kind of his normal-ish game.
Yeah.
And he's got Ace-Queen suited here over in seat 2.
That's not good.
No, I'm taking off in about half an hour. I'm going to eat and go.
He's got to put 40.
Maybe 9 o'clock.
And Andy is going to bet 40 here with the Ace-Queen of clubs. Standard raise. Although I got to tell you, you know, sometimes when you play on a table like this, and I usually will bring it in anywhere between 55 and 75, depending on the situation, whether they're limpers, what position I'm in. Usually an open raise for me under the gun is 60 or 65. If I find that nobody's ever calling that, then I guess you do kind of have
No,
to
of
lower
course.
it down a little
You
bit.
said to me the other day, we were talking, probably more like a month ago, not the other day, where you noticed that my raises were like 45
Right,
and 40 because you weren't getting any action
right.
when you were making it 60. And then obviously you've got to be aware of if one or two new players come in the game, you might have to completely change it and suddenly make it $75 to go.
Yeah, you got to use it.
I mean, I was sitting in a couple of tables of death today. There were 2 main games that were just awful. I actually recycled myself through to 3 to 5.
Did you?
Came back into the must move for
It's
half an
amazing.
hour.
I mean, you keep saying that the games during the day don't seem to be that good.
Well,
but
it
the
just
game
depends
last
on the
night was
day.
insane. It
Yeah,
was so good.
Yeah. I'm going to play it tonight as
Are
well.
you?
Yeah. No, I think I might kind of change my schedule around at least this month towards more maybe of a night type thing.
Well, because you know everybody's coming down at like 3 o'clock
Yeah.
to play the tournaments.
Yeah.
And then once they get knocked out, they're going to dunk it off in the main game.
Although the games can be good after 4 o'clock too, you know.
Without a doubt, definitely.
Well, Chuck's got top 2 here. Matt's got pocket 4s. Chuck raised it to 40, and he's hit top 2. And it looks like Matt is just going to throw a little $60 bet out here with pocket 4s.
He's a really nice guy.
Well,
That's one thing. That's my own little pet peeve. I hate not having the right change. I hate having to throw in a chip and say how much it is.
I hope he does.
let's see what Chuck is going to do. He's flopped top 2 pair here.
No really rhyme and reason to it. Just my own little pet peeve.
Is he going to raise it up right away?
20 million to play, right?
He calls. Well, Matt's going to need to spike a 4 years way behind, but he is in essence giving Matt almost like a free card here by not raising. Well, the turn's a 3.
Everybody knock each other out. He's tough five.
And I gotta tell you, if somebody bets into me on that kind of board, I'm probably gonna raise it right away, hoping he's got the ace.
Matt checks.
And you know what? You know what the biggest thing is though? When you go from one day.
Chuck is kind of Hollywooding it up here.
I know, but he's been doing it.
And he's going to bet, and Matt is done with it.
And Matt's really, he's had a rough night so far, hasn't been able to catch anything.
Yeah.
He got over 30. He got 30
Sometimes it goes like that, and look at the river. River would have filled him up there.
2-1% lead. Yeah, 2-1.
So tomorrow, we're gonna have a stud high-low event. If you want to play in the stud high-low, it'll be at 4:15 p.m., $300 buy-in. Check that out.
Believe me, I think it's still not, you know, it's not even close to being over.
I mean, I hope.
I'm hoping he's over.
Butt moves over here to seat number 8.
Well, tomorrow.
Apparently, Ronnie Never Win McMillan might play.
Final tables win Sunday.
I'll take that bet.
Ching.
Ace King here for seat 7. And Anthony's going to raise it to 40. Now, Matt's got pocket 5s going the speed limit. He makes the call on the button. Again, this is not the best game. It doesn't look like there's a whole lot of action here. In terms of playing in the game.
No, of course, exactly. But we always talk about it, though. Now, let me ask you something.
Well, let's see how Matt's going to play this hand here. Is this a bad flop heads up for 5s?
Not at all. No.
10, 10, 6. Looks like Anthony is going to keep... No, it goes check, check. The turn's a 7.
Wow, Matt did not bet on the button. I'm surprised.
And he's going to check again, and now he fills up on the river. Well, I think he's going to bet now, Dave.
Well, you got to put something in there, don't you? And look, Matt, I think Matt actually asked me, is there any way you're going to call me?
He bets... He's kind of overbet the pot here. Bets 100. Wouldn't this be a neat trick if Anthony calls here with ace-king high? And that's what Anthony's trying to figure out. Matt looks like he's really overbetting them. Well, not really. I mean, he's betting 100 into an $80 pot.
No.
Anthony shows the hand and he folds it.
No, but I mean, the amount of stuff you could do.
Matt's going
And
to take
Matt
it down
looks
there
at
with 5.
disgusted at instead of 5s.
Yeah.
Throws it away. Once again, we are live at the bike. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hansen. You can catch us every Monday through Friday from 7 to 10 Pacific time. You can also email us with any questions, comments at live@thebike.com.
You know that deal was made in advance.
Yeah.
Because you can't make a deal that fast.
Oh no. You want to go home,
Because he just bought it. I mean,
And Gaetano's got pocket 9s here in seat 5.
and he signed a deal with Google.
And he's going to raise it up. It looks like he's going to make it 60.
Just incredible.
Looks like a $60 raise here. And I don't think he's going to get called. I'm not sure if he's getting called at any spot. No, apparently not. Nobody's going to call him here, and we're not going to see a flop. Now, I'm curious. Okay, Bart, we always talk about how to adjust. Now, let's say you found yourself in a game like this. How would you adjust to it? I mean, what would be the best way to profit from a game like this?
Well, I told you what I did today. I recycled myself into another game.
Would you change your game, or would you just leave this game? Is it worth even playing?
You might start raising a bit in position and kind of like... I think that you say that you like a game like this because you think it's kind of free money, but I think you have to be at the right type of table. I don't necessarily know if all these guys are weak tight as just opposed to
No, I don't
tight.
think they are weak tight at all. Which
Yeah.
is one of the reasons I was saying. I mean, you look at George. George is not weak tight. Matt
Right.
is not weak tight. You know, Anthony in seat 7 is not.
Gus isn't weak tight either.
No, exactly. These guys will fight back with you.
Yeah.
Is this a table, though? Is there a way you can change your strategy around to make this a profitable game?
Would you start straddling?
You almost want to do something to kind of get the other players to gamble a little.
Yeah.
You know, maybe give the appearance that you're gambling, so they'll gamble.
Limped around here.
Part of the psychological warfare that goes on when you're playing poker. And look at this. Apparently, Jamie Gold is up to 32 million, over 31 million.
They're at dinner break. Still 12 left.
Still 12 left, so they're going to play 3 more down, play down to 9.
Well, look at this. Now, look at this. Jack 3. We've got a bunch of people. I don't even know what Matt's doing in that hand in mid-position with Jack 3. 3 people have top pair. George has got top 2.
Yeah.
And
George is in great
Gaetano's
shape.
got Jack 10. Gaetano comes out and bets. Is Matt even going to get involved here with Jack 3?
That's an easy laydown for Matt. Yeah, Matt is called out of position with Jack 3 offsuit.
Well, I mean, he's one off the cutoff.
Okay, he's called. I'm sorry, he's called
Limped in.
not in the blind
Right.
with Jack 3 offsuit.
He's not going to get involved.
He's laughing.
And let's see what George is going to do here with the Jack 9. Looks like he's going to raise it up right away.
$150.
$150 raise, and it's almost like anytime anybody raises, they definitely have better than one pair. I mean, how could Jack 10 ever be good here to a raise?
Right. I mean, what you might have to do in this game is you almost might have to show down a couple of bluffs just to get the whole table loosened up a little. Or the best decision might actually be just to switch games. Like you said, just pick a better spot.
And Gaetano folds it. George takes it down. So, we were discussing earlier before the show, even though Alan... So, obviously, you have to say that the favorite to win is Jamie Gold, just because he's got double what second place has, and he has almost 30... No, he's got more than 30% of the total chips. 5, 8, 12, 16,
There's 87
20,
million
26.
there's 87 million in play.
Yeah.
And he's got 31 million, so...
35, 40% of the chips.
Yeah, he is really dominating.
But
here.
what I'm saying is, does Alan Cunningham have an edge? Do you put him as the favorite, or at least give him more of an edge than what his percentage of chips are to the
clearly.
to the whole field?
Clearly,
That's what I mean.
If you were to look at the chips here,
Yeah.
you might make Jamie Gold even money. You might make Alan Cunningham 3-1, and everybody else at like 5, 6, 7-1.
Yeah.
But in all reality, so many things can happen in a poker game. This one hand can switch everything around.
Right.
I just think Ryan's going to do something.
We saw last year Andrew Black. Didn't he have 20 million in chips at one point with 5 players left?
Yeah. Kind of self-destructed a little bit.
I mean, 7th place or 5th place, I thought he came in. 5th place. I mean, he had 20 million chips at 5th place, and he got knocked out. I mean...
George's open raised, he's going to raise it after a couple limpers with pocket 10s. Garland is... He's trying to figure... And Garland folds the ace-queen. Out of position, not even going to get involved.
I mean, in this table, I got to tell you, there's no way I'm folding ace-queen.
Gaetano calls with pocket 4s. Queen 8-3. Well, George is good here. No way you fold the ace-queen on this table?
No, I just think I can... I think I'll know if I'm behind.
And it goes check,
Because
check
nobody
here.
bets unless they have something. You know what I mean? It's like...
George, Gaetano checks again. Now
Let's say the
George
flop
is gonna
comes out
bet.
Queen 8-3, right? And I bet into it. And the guy raises me. I can easily throw away my ace-queen. Because I know he's not going to make a move on me. There might be one player at this table who's going to make a move.
Now, all of these other guys, you don't recognize any of these other names, right, besides Alan Cunningham?
At this point, I do, just because I've been following the last 5 days.
No, but I mean, you hadn't recognized them from
No.
before. They're all like online qualifiers or something like that.
Or live players, who knows? I mean,
Yeah.
I know Jamie Gold only from because he plays at the bike.
Right,
And
right.
he's from Malibu, California. Obviously, Alan Cunningham speaks for himself. But no, I don't know anybody else. Now, in 12th place is Leaf Force. We're
Smells
just
like
under,
a Swedish name.
Yeah, just under 2 million in chips, and that's very short stacked right now.
Yeah. I mean, Jamie Gold could almost cruise his way into the top 5 with not even playing a hand, right? I mean, that's not what he's looking to do, but I'm saying.
I would imagine if Jamie Gold did not play a hand,
Yeah.
I would imagine he'd probably finish in 5th place.
Right.
I mean, I mean, he's got so many chips.
Yeah.
I cannot go. I cannot.
And
mean,
we
what
got
a
a raise
blind right
here. Now, how about this? Now, Matt has raised it with ace-queen. Now, you got ace-jack off suit here for Gus. Are you going to get involved?
I'm going to get involved. At this table,
Really?
why not? I'm on the button. Because you got to realize, if everybody misses, they're going to check me. I'm going to play almost any 2 cards on the button at this table.
Well, let's see what Gus is going to do. It's a $45 raise. He's toiling over whether he's going to get involved here. He makes the call. Now, obviously, Gus is a savvy enough player where he's not going to commit a lot of chips to a dry ace here on the
Yeah,
board.
exactly.
Oh, we're going to see a multi-way pot here. We got a new player coming into seat 6.
Anytime there's some money in the pot, I want to play.
And Anthony's also going to call.
We got a Johnny come lately in seat number 6.
We got 5-way action here, Dave. $225 pot. Here we go to the flop. All hearts. And Matt's got ace-queen with the ace of hearts.
Monster flop.
Queen 9 deuce. Isn't really a whole lot out there for anyone to get involved with. And Gaetano's got the 10 of hearts. He's got a gut shot to the jack with the 10 of hearts.
I mean, we always talk about I don't want to call raises with dominated hands, but in a table like this, everybody's kind of giving you the information you need to know right away.
And Matt bet's kind of weak. Again, really no reason. Just kind of build the pot up. No reason to scare anybody away. and he's going to take it down.
You playing the flop this time?
Ace of hearts.
That's the ultimate confidence card. Ace queen? And top pair. Top pair with the nut flush draw. Dude, I think he's going nowhere. Nowhere. I was going broke with that one.
This is something. Our final 12 players, everyone remaining is now a millionaire.
Yeah, I noticed that it's not just the final table this year.
Everybody is a millionaire, and apparently you knew this
Now,
was
so
going to
they're
happen.
playing 6 and 6 right
They
now,
are.
huh? That's got to be a very big disadvantage for the short stacks, right?
Of course. Jamie Gold can run the table over.
Are they going to do the final table 11-handed?
No, they're doing it 9-handed.
Oh, really? So they're going to play 5 and 5. I thought
No,
sometimes
they'll play. What they'll do is they'll play 6 and 5.
6 and 5. That's what I meant.
Then they'll
yeah.
go 5 and 5, and they'll play they'll play one table.
Yeah.
They'll play 10 at a table, but they won't. They'll stop tonight at 9.
Right.
Televised
right.
is only 9.
That's what I mean. But the final they'll play 10-handed at the final
right.
table.
So, yeah, not 11-handed.
Right. $40 raise here by seat number 2. King 6 of clubs.
I said it wouldn't have mattered if I had kings.
And we're going to see 4-way action here. Johnny's going to call.
It cost me 30. It's a horrible call.
And I'm not sure,
Anthony
but
calls. Oh, Greg is not going to call.
I think the blinds right now are 5,100 with a $10,000 ante. They might be 6,120 with a $20,000 ante, but you're talking about $250,000 to play around.
$120 pot here. Andy raised it with King 6, and he's going to bet. He bets 100 here. Everybody's missed, and he's probably going to take it down, and he does.
To put that in perspective, if Jamie Gold did not play a hand for 100 orbits at this blind structure, he would still have 8 million chips. Or no, 6 million chips, sorry. Which would still put him in like 4th place right now.
Well, you wonder at this point, now that everyone has $1 million, and I'm going to take a look at how the payout structure works, is anyone really clamoring right now to just go up in placement, or is everyone just playing to win? I mean, right now, 10 through 12...
I think a lot of these players are playing to get to the final table.
Yeah, I mean...
I think there's definitely a prestige there where I had a feeling that the play might be pretty fast and furious until it got to, say, 15 or 14. Yeah. And you see now that it's 12.
10 through 12 is 1.1, 9 is 1.5, and then it doesn't really go up until 4.1 until 3rd place. I mean, it goes to 3.6. These are hundreds of thousands of dollars going up, but it's all
relative.
Going up
$500,000 each one, right? But there is obviously a prestige. You know, if you get knocked out 12,
yeah,
it's one thing. Hey, great, good job. But if you get knocked out 6th or 7th and you make it to the final table, that's kind of cool.
Limped around here, and we got trip kings here for Greg. In seat 9, he's going to bet. Nobody has an ace.
And that's where Jamie Gold can really take advantage of the players.
Oh,
and you know Alan Cunningham's going to do it as well. He knows how to play tournaments so well. You know that he's going to recognize which one of these players really wants to just make it to the final table.
And Prahlad Friedman got busted by Jamie Gold.
By Jamie Gold, actually. It was an interesting hand. Jamie Gold actually raised it in middle position with 7-8 offsuit.
Yeah.
And then Friedman actually re-raised him all in with ace-3 offsuit. And Gold felt, I guess he felt like he was pot committed, like he was getting enough odds that he had to call.
If he's getting anywhere near 2-1 with his chip stack, I think it's an easy call,
I think he was getting about 2-1 on his money with 7-8, and he flopped the straight. 4-5-6 came out and knocked out Friedman.
Well, you wonder about, I have no idea about the details of the hand, but you wonder if you're going to make that move with ace-3, you almost got to calculate what the pot odds are going to be to that raiser, because if he's getting 2-1, you almost got to think there's no fold equity, right?
Well, that might have been, Friedman might have thought that he was right at the brink of maybe he could get this guy to lay it down.
Oh, really?
It was like 1.3 million more.
Yeah.
Something like that, so maybe he thought he could get him to lay it down. Who knows, obviously.
Jack 8-3 here, limped around.
Friedman, obviously a very successful tournament player and cash game player.
Oh, he's the biggest online, no limit cash game player that there is. And he's going to bet here. A pair of 8s. Now Johnny's got the best hand here. He's going to call with second pair, Queen 8. Looks like everybody else is out of there. Well, here we go to the turn. The turn's a 5. Queen 8 is still in the lead. Let's see how Andy's going to play this. Andy checks. Now, is Johnny going to take a card here, or is he going to bet? And he takes a card. The river here is an ace. Well, is anyone going to represent? Check. Probably check.
No, and Andy's going to take this down.
Queen
Actually,
8.
I'm sorry, Johnny's going to take it down.
Yeah, Queen 8's going to take it down.
Now, the funny thing is you talk about the players of the year and with the influx of so many players at the World Series, you'd expect the pros not to be doing as well. But you know what? I got to hand it to some of them. 2 years ago, Negreanu was the Player of the Year. Last year it's Cunningham, and this year, Jeffrey Madsen, obviously, he finished first overall, but Helmuth actually comes in second place, and Hashem comes in fourth place. Really amazing when you consider the number of players that are showing up at these events. When you have 8,700 people, obviously you've got a lot of dead money in there. But you're talking about players like Jamie Gold, even though you might have never heard of him before this tournament. He obviously knows how to play the game. Ace-King offsuit here for Greg. He is in the big blind. Get a limp in here from Andy. Andy's got the old 9-7 offsuit. And that's a hand that I got to tell you, I'm probably not going to be limping in early position with 9-7 offsuit. It's not a hand that I want to be playing out of position. And it folds around to the big blind. Greg is going to raise it out of the big blind. And at this table, why not? You don't want to trap somebody with ace-king and end up getting trapped yourself.
You basically had one under. You had one undercard, not one overcard.
Wow, not a bad payday at all. 1.1 million for all the players, guaranteed. If you can survive to the final table, you're guaranteed $1.5 million, and obviously moves up till then. World Series of Poker. It really is a circus right now, though, I got to tell you.
I did well at Mandalay Bay.
Hopefully one of these days, I know Bart, I'm not sure if Bart wants to or not, but I know I'd like to get more involved in the tournament circuit and play more tournaments. Again, it does frustrate me that I can only play, say, 8 or so a year. Hopefully during the Legends I'll be able to play 6 or 7 of them. That's what I'm hopefully looking for.
And then I started building
4 ways.
and I got to the final table of 50,000.
Ace, Jack 3, and that is the case ace. And Matt has got him all outkicked here. Greg there with deuce 7 offsuit. He's got absolutely nothing. And Matt is just going to win it. Matt bets with his ace 10, and the ace 6 and the ace 3 do not even get involved, and Matt takes it down. And oftentimes the correct way to play poker is obviously you've got to be able to adapt to your opponents, adapt to your competition. And oftentimes the best way to play is the opposite of what they're playing. Oftentimes if you watch me playing a game with, say, Corporation Mike and Dimitri and players like that, you'll see me playing really, really tight, and I'm waiting for big hands in position. But if I'm playing against players that are somewhat passive and tight and weak, you're going to see me playing more like Corporation Mike.
Button moves over here to seat 9. We're halfway through the show here.
Although I will say I never quite get to his level. I don't think I ever want to.
Well, with sheer aggression, you mean?
Yeah, not quite that much aggression. Although last night, I will tell you, playing four-handed against an ultra-tight player who just did not adjust to the fact that we're playing four-handed, it was almost correct to do it. Now, Andy has flopped a straight. He has flopped the absolute nuts. It is a rainbow board. He is going to bet this. And let's see is Matt going to get involved. And Matt is going to get involved. He calls here. He's got top pair with top kicker. George has got absolutely nothing. He's going to throw it away. Andy's got the absolute nuts here. Look at these percentages. You're 96-3. The turn is an 8, and what an action killer. Oh, God, what an awful card for Andy. Really is. Obviously, Andy really wanted to see an ace there or a 9 there. And Andy's going to bet again. And Matt's like, well, now I got nothing.
All right.
And some nights it's just like that, obviously. Our show is live. It's unedited, unscripted. You're not seeing the, when you watch something on ESPN, you're seeing the highlight show. Here you're seeing everything. But look at this. Matt's going to call anyway, and this pot is quickly $300. The river is a 3, and I got to tell you, if you're Andy here, keep betting. Why not? Maybe the guy's got 2 pair. Maybe he's got 9-8. Who knows? And I'm not quite sure why Matt would make that call on the turn. I mean, the 3 of spades certainly didn't change anything unless you thought Andy would not fire again unless he actually had something.
We had an email here from Kristen Neese from last night, and I didn't get to it. It says, "Hey, Tuck and Bart." This is from Johnny. Sometimes I get confused with the message line.
Right.
From. I'm a low-limit recreational player. I'm going to Vegas at the end of October. I usually play a ton of 50-cent and dollar home games and a few no-limit 1 and 2 games. Kind of 20 max buy-in. like an $80 game, and we play a weekly $30 tourney, I'm probably going to take $1,000 to play, and I usually play pretty tight. What games would you recommend as far as limits and no limit or limit, or should I just play a ton of tournaments since there are 80 low-limit tournaments all around Vegas? I don't plan on making a ton of money, but I'd love to make enough to pay for my vacation. Also, I'm reading a low-limit tourney book and Small Stakes Hold'em by Miller and Skolansky and Malmuth. Have you guys read this, and do you recommend it? And we'll get to that in a second here. Garland's got ace-king of hearts.
Matt is badly dominated with king-queen. Let's see if we can catch a king out here.
Garland limped in here under the gun. He did not raise, as did Matt. And Andy's in there with 8-9. He does not have pocket 9. So Matt is open-ended, and so is Greg.
But Gus here, Gus has got top pair. And Gus is going to bet it.
Yeah, he's going to come out and bet with Jack 3 here.
45.
Garland not going to get involved. Easy laydown for him with ace-king of hearts. He missed that flop completely.
Now, seat number 6 has got 7-10. Seat 6 has got king 6. He's out of there. Anthony's out with middle pair. Well, that's not a bad flop, obviously, for king queen. There are 2 diamonds out there.
Yeah, and Matt is going to call this.
Yep.
Now, there's 1 spade out there. He also has backdoor spades. Let's see how he plays this.
And Andy's got the bottom end of it, so he's going to make the call as well.
And he is live, obviously. If he catches a queen or 7, he is fine.
Remember, Andy also has the same hand as Greg, and he is also going to make the call.
Well, there you go.
And I think Gus is going to be almost forced to check here on the turn.
Gus has got to hate his hand right now.
Well,
wow.
Turns a deuce, and now Matt has a flush draw.
And so does Gus. The same flush draw.
He gets checked here. Well, and Matt checks. As I said, you make a big semi-luff. The pot's like $350. Checked around, and the river's an ace. And Gus and Matt both make flushes.
And what is going to happen to Gus here? You know, it's really going to be tough to put Matt on backdoor spades here. And I wonder if Matt made a mistake here by not building himself a little bit of a pot.
Well, Gus is going to bet 100. Let's see how much Matt can raise. It's a $400 pot, 100 to call.
Matt has made his straight and his flush. He has the absolute nuts here. Well, actually, I'm sorry. 3-5 of spades is actually the absolute nuts.
He's going to raise it up.
275, 250.
375, so 275 more here.
Raise 150.
It's actually
only a $150 raise.
It's actually a pretty small raise. I mean,
Yeah.
you probably could have raised more. The pot was already $500.
Yeah, it is a very small raise. I think he didn't want to scare somebody out, maybe. Doesn't think that somebody else also has the spades. I mean, it's kind of a peculiar thing to have 2 people run into backdoor spades.
Obviously, of course it is.
Yeah.
But you wonder, though, the pot was $300. Gus puts in 100. You call 100. The pot's now 500. You're only making 150 more.
Right. Now, Gus can't re-raise here, can he?
Yeah, it's a tough spot for him to re-raise. It really is. Now, the pot is 650, 150 to call. It's an easy call for Gus, obviously.
He calls.
Oh, they got butchered.
And Matt takes it down there with the king high flush. Now, something in between there. It's funny. If Gus re-raises there,
yes,
because he has the 3 of spades, can anybody re-raise with the king of spades? Does that mean that you can re-raise for value knowing you can't face a re-raise?
You know, the only thing I got to tell you, I can raise that because Gus, he was the better on the flop.
Yeah.
The board is Jack 10-4.
Right, so you don't...
2 diamonds. I'm not putting him on 3-5 spades.
3-5 spades, right.
I mean, that's a stretch.
Yeah.
There was a bet on the flop. You know, I'm going to re-raise, and the guy moves all in, I'm going to call him. And I'm going to hope he has the Jack high flush.
Oh, the queen... Oh, you're right, the Jack high flush, right.
But I really think Matt left a little money on the table there. I got to tell you, if the guy bets 100 into me, I'm going to see that as kind of a little stop bet, and I'm going to overbet it. I'm not going to. I don't want to make it look like I want the call.
50.
I'm going to make it 400 more, 500 more.
Well, Gaetano limped in here with ace king of diamonds, and Andy's going to raise it with Jack 9 of clubs to 50. Is Gaetano going to play a limp re-raise? No, he's just going to call. Pretty conservative table. We'll get to Johnny's question here in a second.
I bring the garbage.
What are you calling on the flop there? No garbage.
And we're going to see this multi-way here once again. Is George coming in with Jack 8 of spades? He's in the cutoff, and he makes the call.
I got to tell you, in position, I don't mind playing a lot of hands at this table.
And we are going to see 5-way action, a $250 pot. Andy, the pre-flop raiser with Jack 9 of clubs.
Well, look at the diamonds there.
Wow, and 2 people have diamond draws with overcards. Johnny and Gaetano here. And how is this one? Everybody's missed.
I love the way you say those names. Johnny and Gaetano.
And it gets checked around, and the turn is a 3.
Well, Johnny's picked up another draw. He has a straight draw as well here. Catch a 5 to make the straight.
Gaetano has the best hand here with ace-king, and he's going to come out and bet.
Yeah, Anthony obviously with the same straight draw.
Johnny is going to call. It's a $50 bet. Remember, if any of these guys maybe raised on the come to represent a 4, it'd be a lot stronger play.
Of course.
It's a $350 pot, and the river's an ace. Well, Gaetano checks. Is Johnny going to try to bluff at it here?
I don't mind this check at all. And Gaetano is going to try. I'm sorry, Johnny is going to try to bluff at it. He has to.
Well, if you run it through in your head, would it have been out of the realm of possibility this call with the 5 on the turn?
Of course not.
But he's only going to bet 80, Dave. That means the pot's like 480, 80 to call.
Wow.
And he check-raised him with ace-king.
You got to be kidding me.
I don't understand that play.
Hey, that's an unbelievable play. You're check raising.
I mean,
with
is he
ace-king.
trying to get the guy off of a 5 or a 4?
Now, there's no way the guy's laying down a 4. There's no way the guy's laying down a 5. I don't think.
You don't think the guy's laying a 4 down?
I don't know. I'll put it this way. I'm not going to make a living trying to get somebody off trips. Are you?
That's unbelievable.
You know what I mean? That's not what I'm looking to do here.
So let's get to Johnny's question.
Okay. One game I can actually recommend for him. It depends. I would actually recommend to play more of the small tournaments.
Really?
I think you'll get more on your money that way.
Yeah.
But because I don't think there are any small enough buy-in games. Because the 1-2, like I know at Mandalay
He said
Bay.
he's going there with $1,000.
Oh, okay, but he was saying that he's more comfortable playing kind of a smaller game. I know there's a good 1-2 game at Mandalay Bay.
Well, there's 1-2 at Bellagio is 200 max, right?
Is
Or
it?
is that 2 to is that
2 to
the
5?
5 is a 500 max?
Yeah.
There's got to be a lot of 1-2
Well, Mandalay
games
Bay.
out there.
Mandalay
200
Bay, there's
maxes.
a 1-2 game.
Yeah.
It's $100 or $200 buy-in. And that's a pretty good game. It's a nice little card room, nice place
Yeah.
to play. I could recommend there, Mandalay Bay.
Any of
Venetian
those-
as well has a small
Yeah,
game.
any of those touristy casinos too that don't really have big card rooms.
Yeah, no, if you wanted to go to like the Luxor or something
Right.
like that, or
Excalibur.
yeah, you definitely find a smaller card room. But I wouldn't mind. I mean, hey, if you want to go to the Palms, they've got some great little small little buy-in tournaments. You can play some of those.
Well, Johnny checked the king here on the flop, and Greg checked behind him with 7s. Johnny's going to bet now. I mean, you're right. It's almost like I believe that Greg was the pre-flop raiser here with 7s, and he just checks the flop with 1 overcard. Now he folds to a bet on the turn.
That's what I mean. In position, I got to tell you, as you start adapting and start working out a strategy to beat a game like this, I got to tell you, I'm going to play a lot of flops in position.
Yep.
Because I assume a lot of these players will just give up. Now, I'm not going to make a lot of money on one hand, but if I can make 30 here, 40 there, 40
Right.
here, hey, I can put in a nice hourly wage.
Let's take a look at a chip count here. We got about 13,000 on the table. Gaetano, $4,000 there in seat 5. Garland on the short stack. Let's take a look at the differences. Gaetano's up $2,300. George is up $1,000, and Greg is down $1,200 over there in seat 9. It's a pretty nice win here for the 5-10 game.
It's a great game. That's a great. I mean, anytime you can win more than $1,000 in this game, I think it's a really nice win.
I mean, my biggest day ever in this game was, I think, 5,700. I don't know about you, but I mean that was my record.
Yeah, I want to say
I got to
even
tell you,
know.
I've never lost more than 2,000 though.
Yeah, I mean, I played a 10-20 game a little bit more than you, and most of my big wins have been in there.
Right.
Got a funny post here from Pajeto. By the way, he's no longer family. Here, I got to read this stuff. Have you noticed that since Dave has won the nursery school tournament at the WSOP, which is filled with a bunch of writers and celebrities, not a bunch of poker players, he has been jumping all over Philly Al, Adam Schoenfield, and now Ronnie for not winning tournaments.
Anthony flopped bottom full here, and he checked it. And again, I never really understand that because I would want to try to build the pot right up right now, get raised on the flop or on the turn by a queen. Wow, and George is going to call here with a straight draw. He's drawing dead. You wonder if he's representing something. And Johnny's going to overcall with the same straight draw.
Sometimes you see the unreal play, though.
The $65 bet, a call and a call. Well, the river's a 3.
And I got to tell you, at this point, if I have the 4s, I am going to overbet this, hoping one of those players has a queen. I'm not looking for a call. I'm going to overbet it.
300.
He's going to bet 300 here.
Into about a
$200, $250 pot.
Okay, so it's not a bad bet at all. If one of these players did have a queen, he'd probably get a call. Unfortunately for him,
you know,
he does.
That's why I got on Barry Woods that time, if anyone was listening yesterday, with that hand, when he raised out of the blind with pocket 3s, got 6-way action, and the flop came ace, ace 3, and he checked it. He check-called the flop, and it went check, check on the turn. How you don't build a big pot with that hand, I find it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, you wonder. I mean, obviously Barry Woods taking a little offense to us getting on him.
Right.
But we get on everybody.
Yeah.
Nobody is above criticism. And to be honest, I don't want to be. I would never want to be above criticism. If I play on the show, one of the reasons I play on the show is so I can get the input from you or Boston
Right.
or anybody else in the room, and I can go home and give myself some criticism. And I can look at what I did wrong and what I did right. Now, I might not necessarily agree with everything you say, but I certainly want to listen to it.
Button
Very
moves
funny
here to
post there
C5.
from Pajeto, though. I like that. Hey, I dish it out enough. I got to be up to take it.
Well, Gus has got King Jack suited. He hasn't played many hands. I don't think he's gotten much to play tonight. He's going to make it 45. You know, Gus almost plays kind of a laggy style in the 3-to-5 game. You wonder if he's just kind of tightening it up because it's a bigger game. And Anthony's going to call with a suited ace, and George is going to call with a suited connector. So here we go. It's about a $140 pot going 3 ways. Well, it's not a great flop for anyone. Let's see if Gus can follow through with a bet here with the queen high flop.
Well, use the power position. Why not at this table?
He bets 80. Now, it's going to be interesting to see. Is George even going to get involved here?
You know, I got to say, I'm surprised how tight weak the play has been at this table, in the sense that, you know, you got a lot of tournament players here. You'd think they'd be mixing it up a little bit more.
Well, how about right now if Anthony's going to check raise here with absolutely nothing?
Hey, why not? Make a move.
Is he gonna be able to do it? Well, he was thinking about it, Dave. No, he's not going to get involved. Let's see what George is going to do. You can see, look at George's face. He just, you know, he's got. He might think he has the best hand now. He just doesn't know if he wants to get involved, and he's not going to get involved.
Yeah. I got to tell you, I might bet that though.
Right.
Might bet it right into the razor. See what he does. See if he doesn't like the queen. Remember, he could have pocket tens, he could have pocket jacks, he could also have ace king or ace jack. Got about an hour left in tonight's show.
But moves over here to seat 6. That's a new player, Johnny, from
Tomorrow
about
night should be
20 minutes ago.
Tomorrow night should be a lot of action. 20-40 no limit hold'em. I will be in Vegas. If you have any questions, by the way, you want me to ask Negreanu, email me. Let me know what.
Liveatthebike.com. Limped around here. 4-way action. 7-6 deuce rainbow here. Well, Jack 7 here for Anthony. He's got the best hand. And Anthony's going to bet. He's going to bet 40. Come out and bet 40, and he's going to take it down.
That was a 6, right? 7.
Once again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or you just want to say hi, you can email us at live@thebike.com. Sorry, I haven't updated my blog lately.
All right, let's go. One straddle around.
I do promise to kind of go double time on it when I come back.
Yeah.
He's the last one.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Look at what I started.
Did he agree?
Nice.
Our own Potato, Jay Siegel, doing a great job with the summaries, the tournament summaries for Legends of Poker.
Build the pot.
See that? Look at
Now
that.
somebody will try and steal it.
And George is going to raise here. Yeah, he's going to raise it up, or is that a straddle? No, it's a straddle here. So George straddled, and Johnny's going to raise it with King Queen.
100.
It's amazing how you turn that air conditioning down in this room, and it just immediately gets up to 90 degrees.
Seriously.
You already told you, eh?
Johnny's raised it up.
Actually, they passed me now. He's gone on.
Gus has got pocket deuces. He's limped, but he's going to take this one out of position.
Well, a pocket pair is easier to play out of position than, say, like a suited connector. Pretty much you hit your set or you don't hit your set. It's pretty easy.
Shut it. Big lineup. A lot of respect.
Yeah, he's going to take it down there. So you are now at the level where if there's a 10-20 game, you will play it mostly because it's a better game. Like if it's a bad 10-20 game and a good 5-10 game, you'll play the 5-10 game.
Of course.
Right.
And I'll even go one step further. If it's a really good 20-40 game
Right.
and a bad 5-10 game, I'll play the 20-40 game now.
Right.
I'm confident enough in my abilities, not arrogant, but confident enough in my abilities, that I know the players here and I know I can beat them.
Well, I'm confident as well. It just it's nice that you're a few years older than me and have probably a little bit of a bigger bankroll from other things than me.
Right.
Yeah. Like I said, I took
Well,
a
I pimp out, you know.
I took a pretty big $20,000 hit this last month.
Well, I mean, the World Series for you was obviously, you know, neither one of us had a very good World Series, but at the same time, I probably won about $4,000 during the 4 weeks of the World Series.
Right.
You lost $20,000.
Right.
Big difference. That's a $24,000 difference.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately for you, you paid $10,000 for one event,
Right.
which, you know, obviously we've hit.
Well, it got limped around here, and C2 is going to raise it up out of the straddle. We had another straddle pot. He's got ace-queen. And why not if you're going to straddle in a full ring game? raise it with that hand.
Although I'll tell you, I mean, I'm still going to play the best game out there. Like last night, the 5-10 game was just so phenomenal that I had to play it. Now, generally speaking of the 10-20 game here, when it's going, it's the best game here.
And there is a game going right now,
Right.
so I'm assuming that you're probably going to
Because the problem, well, Corporation Mike is in the game. And when Corporation Mike is in the game is always good.
And he was just licking his chops saying when he got knocked out of the tournament, he said, boy, it's going to be a lot of players that don't know me here.
Right.
And that's true, and that makes the game better because he's going to be...
It's just every time he's in the game, and I don't
Yeah.
say that because I like to actually mix it up with Mike, but he makes a game great.
Absolutely.
You'll never see a game this dull with Mike in it. Never. It just
Yeah.
cannot happen because he will force the action. He will force the other players to play. He will force them to gamble up. Remember we talked about rating players from -3 to +3?
Yeah.
Mike almost forces everybody down one.
5-way action here, limped around, and everyone's straddling now. So this pot is $100. Well, Gus has flopped trip aces. And he's going to bet, and, call me crazy. We've always said it, that I would proceed with caution with
You're
ace-7
crazy.
here.
I don't mind betting, though, finding out
No,
where you're
absolutely
at right away.
not, but I'm saying I would proceed with caution. And even if you bet on the turn and now somebody raises you really got to step back and say,
Right.
what am I up against here? And he shows the 7. He was in the straddle spot.
Sometimes I will even check that hand because you got to realize, and I'll just throw this at you. If you bet ace-7 there, usually your opponents will assume you would check trip aces.
Yeah.
So they are more apt to make a move on you. And with a hand as weak as trip aces with only a 7 kicker, you are not strong enough to call if somebody makes a move. So I almost want to stop that person from making a move. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense.
Pocket kings here for Anthony.
Talk about karma. You got Einberg here. Michael, I believe his name is Mike Einberg,
Yeah.
who pledged all of his tournament winnings to charity for Parkinson's, and then got knocked out 18th.
Johnny's raised here, and is Anthony made a re-raise, or is he just called? Yeah, he's going to re-raise it.
And the question is Johnny going to get involved out of position with ace-queen?
Well, it's such a bad hand to get involved with.
It really is, but you wonder, though. Some people overvalue that hand.
And he is going to call. Well, especially people that play a lot of tournaments love that hand. And this pot, and Dave, he only has like 300 left. It's $450. I figure now if he hits the ace, he should play it as a check raise. Well, he's totally whiffed.
Although you got to realize, though, he's short enough. Why not? Obviously, if the guy
He's got
has ace
five-
king.
yeah, he's got
if the guy has
500
ace king,
behind.
he has ace king.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Now, Johnny does have the ace of clubs in his hand.
It's already a $450 pot,
You got to realize there's no point in really representing clubs here. The fold equity's just not there.
and Anthony's going to bet. And again, this is a hand where if Johnny had aces, he probably should have played it the same way. You play it as a call on the flop, heads up.
Exactly.
Or call pre-flop, and then check. Anthony commits, and then you push.
Then you push, and he can't
Yeah.
go anywhere
Yeah.
because he's pot committed.
Ace king good.
And Johnny's going to lay it down.
And that also works even if Anthony had decided to re-raise with ace-king, because now he's also going to commit with ace-king, and he still might feel like he's committed.
No,
100%.
Ace king good for a chop. Come on. Ace king.
Tom McAvoy actually made it pretty deep, too, didn't he? Did he get
Did he?
top
I didn't know.
50?
I didn't see his name in the top 50, but check it out.
Maybe top 100, something like that.
I mean, there were a significant number of pros that did well. I mean, Umberto Brenes obviously had.
Yep. Annie
very-
Duke did well, too, right?
Annie Duke.
Susie Isaacs made it pretty deep. Well, maybe
Jeffrey Lissandro.
Yeah.
Jerk off. Is that what you jerk off?
Strangely enough, I was talking to. I got to be. We've already got obviously friendly with Baron van Toth, but he's there the entire World Series, still there. Apparently, Mo got knocked out in a really strange way. Mo actually had built up his stack to about 60,000 on day two.
Yeah, he told me. Well,
And he kind of made a bad bluff.
I don't know how he get knocked out, but he told me about a hand about how he got crippled though.
Yeah.
I'll get to that in a second. I'll run through it. But we need to see sixes cards here. We got 4-way action limped around King 8 Deuce Rainbow.
And he's got Ace 10.
And everybody's missed here. Turns a 9. Well, Garland's got a gut shot here to the nuts.
You know, it's amazing how some nights the cards just don't seem to work together
Right.
to make the big hands.
Checked around once again. And the river is a queen, and Garland backs into the best hand. Is there any reason to bet here with the queen?
I mean, not unless you think you can get called by an 8. You know, I mean, maybe. Actually, no, I'll say there is a little value. Why not show your hand so later on you can actually steal?
Right.
Maybe.
Mo was telling about me. telling me about a hand. Basically, what happened was that it was small blind versus big blind. He was the big blind. It got folded to the small blind. Was a really tight player. The small blind completed. Mo raised it with king jack suited 3.5 times the big blind, and the guy called. The flop came king jack jack, and you know Mo. He's always going to continuation bet even with his big hands.
Right.
It checked to Mo. He bet. The guy called. The turn was a king. The guy checked. Mo bet. The guy check raised him all in. Mo called. The guy had ace king. Mo had king jack, and an ace came on the river.
Oh, wow. That's awful.
Yeah.
Oh, that is horrendous.
So that's what he said. He got really crippled on that hand.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a bad beat just to get... The king on the turn is a bad beat. You know what I mean?
We lost. I lost 27, so he lost. He lost by 9.
You know, it's an interesting notion here too. As George is going to raise it up here, looks like with 10-7 of hearts against the straddle, he takes it down. Let's say you have ace-king, okay, and the flop comes out with 2 kings, and you're very fairly certain, you're 100% certain that the guy has a king. Your head's up, and it comes king, king, 9,
Right.
okay? Because he checks, you bet, and he Hollywoods it up, and you know he's got a king, and he calls, so you're feeling really, really good about it. Say you're both deep, okay, and now the turn's a 9, so now you're both tied. Would you ever check the turn so that you don't want to get all the money in on the turn, basically gambling it up for your whole stack? Because you are no longer ahead. It's just a luck fest to see whoever's going to win on the river.
Right, if
Someone
he's got
spikes
king,
the
queen,
river.
or king, jack,
Exactly.
king, 10.
The order of bad seeds.
Yeah, I guess theoretically you could. I mean, you're still in a tough spot, though. I mean, obviously, there's a little bit of pot control there. You're keeping the pot small.
That's what I'm talking
Because
about,
if a
yeah.
10, a jack, or a queen come out, and you check to him, and he bets 500, you're probably going to have to call anyway.
Well, I'm talking about in position. But,
Oh,
but
okay.
do you see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, 6-way action here.
Now, you might want to check. You've got to remember, if the guy doesn't have a king, he's not going to call you.
Right.
And you know what? You might trick him enough that if he checks to you on the river, and he doesn't have a king, but let's say he had a
Had a
9,
nine, right.
maybe he'll pay you off. It's not necessarily a bad play at all.
Checked around here, limped around, turned is an 8. No one has an ace. Well, Gaetano's got a diamond draw plus middle pair, or second pair, and he's going to bet. He's going to bet 60 here with jack 6. Now, George in seat 1's got a lower flush draw plus a wheel draw to the 3. Is he going to get involved with 4 or 5 of diamonds? Well, he calls. He does not want to see a diamond here. The only way he can win is with an offsuit 3. And the river's a 10.
Can he represent, though? Can he get Gaetano off of a jack here?
Well, this is a clear-cut spot where you look at this and you say, if you check with jack 6 and George bets, what on earth would he bet there?
Right.
If
Would
you put him on busted diamonds. What I'm
Would he
saying,
bet an ace? You might actually
remember,
more
he
likely
checked the flop.
Yeah, you'd more likely put him on a busted hearts there.
Yeah, busted hearts, right,
Right.
something like that. He checked the flop, so a lot of people get scared when you check jack 6 there, and now he bets. I mean, a good player,
He's
yeah, I
probably
guess-
not going to bet a jack.
Probably not. Yeah,
I mean, maybe he slow played kind of a weak
he
ace.
could have slow played a big hand on the flop too. But again, he didn't raise the turn either.
No, that's
he just
what I mean.
called.
Yeah, it's an odd play.
And remember, there's 2 sides of a flush draw there on the turn.
It's one of those times you're 100% right. If you start
Yeah.
thinking the hand through and he bets the river, it just doesn't add up. But we see time and time again, players just go, I can't beat anything. Okay, I'll throw it away, and they
Yeah.
throw away their hand without really thinking it through. Once again, live at the bike, we have the Legends of Poker tournament going on all month. Tomorrow tournament is Stud High Low starting at 4:15 p.m. And then Thursday, hold on to your hats, Mr. Excitement, Low Ball World
Oh
Championship.
man! Anybody who's older than the people that play in the stud high low, it's low ball.
Yeah.
Single draw low ball.
Maybe we could televise that.
Queen 4-5 here. Gets checked around to Gaetano. He's going to bet with ace high and a wheel draw. His hand is good. It's amazing how many people keep missing these flops.
Yeah, it really is. I mean,
We haven't seen an action flop all night.
yeah, it was weird how you were a little skeptical about the makeup of the table.
Right.
In the first 10 minutes, I was like, wow, we got an action table here.
Right. Gaetano just continues to reel in those chips there out of seat 5.
Well, I mean, this is the kind of table you're not going to win a lot of money in one hand. You got to take it. You got to take little by little.
Here's a question here from the sleeping giant Rick in Dallas. He says, Dave, ask Daniel if he'll put me into the main event at Legends.
I'll do that.
You know, the funny thing, you have to ask him
Okay.
about my situation, though, too. Or you can wait for him to come here. Tell him the whole story. And see if he thinks it's fair or if his situation might be different. You know what I mean?
I'll mention it to him for sure.
I guess that's a no. Live
No, I'll
straddle here
mention
by
it to him. I
Seat.
will. I will. Without a doubt. It's a full moon tonight. That time of the month for you also?
Yes, definitely. Four-way action here.
Lips
Lips around.
Oh, wow. Jack 10, open-ended. Queen Jack, top pair.
It's the biggest action we've seen all night.
I know.
And George is going to bet here. Excuse me, Greg's going to bet here with Queen Jack. He bets 100.
And Andy can at least call this. You wonder if you can raise it, though. The way this table is played, if anybody raises, everybody else just folds.
Well,
there it is.
Straight.
Now, you'd much rather would have hit the 8 there.
Yep. Well, he's bets 100. I mean, what does Greg think that... I mean, here, this is when you have to piecing together what the guy called you with, because you can only really beat Queen 10 here, right? You can't beat Queen 9. You can't beat King Queen.
You got to really start thinking, what
and
is
he
my...
just called. He just called with the Jack 10, and now the river's an 8. Now
He
he's
makes
got
both sides of it.
Yeah.
He's got the 8 to the King straight.
Now you can't beat Queen 8 either.
Yeah, you can beat nothing. You got to think about it. What did this guy call me with? If he didn't call me the Queen, well, the only draw out there was Jack 10, which got there.
And now he bets 200 on the river.
I mean, this is an extremely easy laydown.
I just think, I mean, there are times when you push with Jack 10, even if an overcard comes on the turn, because you think the guy might be on a flush draw. But what's really the draw there on that flop?
No,
I mean, you might just check fold with Queen Jack on the turn there.
Yeah, you probably could,
you know,
because you got to realize it's one of those times where, you bet into a draw, and you go, and the guy calls you, you go, well, I hope the guy's got a draw. And then the draw hits, and you go, well, I hope he has something else. It's almost like you start inventing hands that you can beat.
Right.
And better than inventing hands that you can beat, why not just fold and pick a better spot? Now we got a post here. Got to go to that last post.
Yeah.
So I got I do have to say it.
It's about this table. It's not that hard to figure out. We're showing cards, and there's nothing to go see yet.
Here you go. Jaff 911, because I do address this. Didn't Tuck say before he went to Vegas last time that he was going to update the blog at least every other day? Anyone believe he'll double time at this trip? Actually, I'm not going to do it this trip. I'm not even bringing my computer. And I do apologize for not updating my blog while I was there last time. My wife would not let me bring my computer.
Really?
But we only have one.
Now look at this. Limp in here by George with kings.
At this table?
Gus has raised it with 8, 6 of clubs. Greg's got pocket 10s here. How is... Oh, and Greg is going to push the rest of his chips in, and that's just beautiful for George in seat 1.
George has got to love that.
Again, I got to tell you, I probably wouldn't be limping in with big pocket pairs at this table. He just gets lucky
not.
this time.
Yeah, he got real lucky.
Yeah.
It's the biggest action pre-flop we've seen all night.
How much is it over there in seat 9? Well, it's only 275. 285.
285 total. I'm going to raise.
And George is going to raise it up.
Wait, George is raising it up even more?
Yeah, he's going to re-raise.
What's the point? Why? I mean, the guy made it 285. You know what I mean? Who's going to come in behind now? 285.
Well, George is way out in front here.
Yeah, obviously. Greg's going to need a 10 and only a 10 here. Even worse than that is clubs and diamonds are dominating.
Yeah, both flush cards he has are no good.
It's about as bad as it can get when you have an underpair.
It's like all the kings and all the 10s are live, so it's going to be a pure, 82, 18.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, there's the 10.
Oh.
Oh, George needs a king and a king only here.
Oh, look at that. Wow.
Suck out, re-suck out.
Unbelievable. Look at that.
Heartbreak.
That would have been really exciting had the money actually, had the pot played out, actually played.
It's funny.
All in pre-flop.
When you're either with a pocket pair against a lower pocket pair, you are a 5-to-1 favorite, or excuse me, 4-to-1 favorite. When you think of it, it's not all that much. It's not unreasonable that you lose that hand once out of 5 times.
Of course not.
I mean, the worst beat is the beat that I think that Matisow takes, even though he was the underdog with aces against kings at the final table last year, where you flop your set and the guy makes a running flush against you.
I guess, but all the money was...
No, but the emotional roller coaster that you go... I mean, the guy's bipolar anyways. I mean, I was surprised he actually took it pretty well when he was crying his eyes out the year before.
Yeah, I mean, hey. I mean, it's one of those things, if the money hadn't all gone in pre-flop, then you really got to be, crying for him, but... What are you going to do?
Pocket jacks over here for Matt.
I'm small blind.
I think we're up for another round later.
Jaff911 says, thanks, Kev. Your last update of the blog was July 12th.
Yes. When was the last time you updated your blog?
The video blog was on a couple weeks ago, right before I left, and I'm doing it again on Thursday. And George has got pocket kings again, and Matt's got jacks. Matt made it 105 on the button. George has got kings again, this time in the blind. Oh, man. And you wonder if this is the hand that Matt might go broke with. Now,
Well, you wonder
is he going to just call and play it savvy again like he did aces
It
earlier
looks
in the
like
night?
it.
Because this raise might be enough. I got to tell you, though, alarm's got to be going off in your head, though. If I raise to 105 with Jackson, he calls.
Yeah, you got to really think, what is this guy? Remember, if you're paying attention earlier, remember that hand at Anthony when he smooth called with aces, you got to realize he could easily have me beat here.
Well, obviously, George doesn't want anybody else in the hand, and that's what he's going to get.
They left me alone.
And this is going to be interesting how it's going to play out here. Remember, George bet out with the aces last time. Here we go to the flop, and it's rags, Dave. 10-6 deuce.
And remember, you can't beat tens now.
Oh, and Matt is going to bet 250 here, and that might commit him.
Yeah, and this is a pretty easy raise spot if you're George, I think.
And there's just nothing that Jacks can beat here on this board. You can't beat queens, you can't beat tens.
Yeah, I mean, you got to realize any hand that George would be making a move with, you can't beat.
And he's going to raise.
400.
He's going to make it 400 here.
Yeah, kind of a little minimum raise here.
$250 bet and a raise to 400. The pot now is about 1,100, 400 for Matt to call. Again, we're privy to the cards, but I got to tell you, if Matt thinks this one through, I think he should dump it.
Well, unless you think George is making a move with something like ace queen or ace king of clubs.
Again, though, if that's the best that he's making it
Exactly.
with,
You're right.
still a donk.
Right, you got to start thinking, okay,
Yeah.
he could have a set, he could have an overpair to me.
Yeah.
The worst he's going to have here is like ace queen or ace king of clubs.
Wow, and I don't know if I just don't think that Matt thought it through there, Dave.
Yeah, and he's just a little frustration there. He's going to move all in, and he's going to go broke.
It looks like he had maybe 600 left, so, I mean, you got to say that maybe the pot odds, I don't know. I mean, he was getting about 2 to 1, but...
Problem is, though, can you be ahead 1 out of 3 times? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
You got to put him on ace queen or ace king of clubs a lot to make that move. And he's in really bad shape here. He's going to need a jack and only a jack.
Yeah.
No jack, dude.
Not going to come.
Matt's
And George, on back-to-back kings, he breaks 2 players, and unfortunately we say goodbye to Matt. Matt's a pretty good player.
I want to say you're
Roswell on 2+2, very good player, just not really getting the best of it.
pairs over pairs. Won't be going to win on this tight table.
I'm getting hit.
Pair over pair. Before
And anyway, back to Jaff 911, I wanted to say, I do apologize to everybody who likes to actually read my blog. I didn't think anybody actually read it.
That's all we see.
But if you do read it, I do apologize.
I know how to play the aces in the
Like I said, I had my laptop. I only owned 1 computer, and I was ready to bring it to Vegas, like I did last year. And my wife kind of looked at me and said, "What are you doing?" And I go, "I have to bring it to Vegas." And she goes, "No. How am I going to download songs on my iTunes?" And for those of you who are married, you know that the woman wins.
Always,
99,
right?
yes, pretty much 99 out of 100 times. So, anyway,
I don't know what that signal Isaac is giving me.
he's
But...
giving the. That's why I'm not married.
Oh, I thought he was giving the V
No,
signal.
he's
for
giving the
something
signal, that's
else,
why
the
I'm
V
not
signal.
married.
845 with a couple of clubs limped around.
But anyway, that is why I did not update my blog, and I do apologize for it. I have a lot of really, really great stories. And the second I get back from Vegas this time, I will. I promise that I will go hardcore writing.
Checked on the flop, and Gus turns the straight here. And he's going to bet out. Now look at this. Now Johnny's open-ended here to the higher straight. Well, the river's a 7. He misses.
I hear Ray in the background saying, "Yeah, one of your blogs should be on the Bodog party." I'm not sure about that one.
You know, it's funny there, Dave. 9-10, could that be valuable if you hit the jack on the river? Would you get paid off big by 6?
You might, yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't have minded another call there. 100 was a pretty big raise. That's why.
I mean, actually, if a 6 falls up and the other guy has just a 9, you might get paid off big. You never know.
Yeah, he would have folded it.
Once again, we're live at the bike. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hansen. Action's kind of picking up here. Got about an hour left in tonight's show. World Series of Poker main event is going on right now, down to 12 players. You can stick with us. We'll give you all the updates there as well. As of right now, Jamie Gold well in command here, over 31 million chips. Cunningham there, he's got, what, 14 million?
Yeah.
In second place, and the next guy's got 8.
Garland's got 9s. I didn't even know he was at the table tonight.
That one right there.
And it looks like he's going to race.
And they're commentating in there?
60. It's like a real game.
I forgot
60.
Garland was even in the table.
That's what I'm saying.
I
That's what
swear.
said. Gitana's going to call.
The only thing I have
And that's one of the problems with Garland's game is you never see him adjusting to the table he's playing at.
And we're here. We got three-way action here. $180 pot. Queen Jack 7. We're getting word that Jonas is going to come in here, Dave. Well, that should
Okay.
add some action. How about top 2 here for Johnny? It's a 3-flush board. Gets checked to Gitano, and he's going to take a shot at it here with 3 diamonds.
Hey, why not?
And Gitano's
Wow,
moving in.
that's a heck of a shot.
I mean, excuse me, Johnny's moving in, and there's no way Gitano can call. He's just taking a stab at it.
Right, and why not take a stab at it, though? We see those 3 flushes all the time. It's really hard to call unless you have a big diamond or 2 pair or something like that.
Yeah. Here's another email here from Steve saying, Dave, make sure you ask Daniel about the controversy with Raymer. Raymer had some harsh comments pretty much calling Daniel stupid because he disagrees with the WPT lawsuit.
I actually will check that out, because when I was talking to Phil Gordon about that, Phil Gordon also was kind of
Well, I got to tell you, too.
ripping on Negrano for that.
Ray, our cameraman, and I, we were at the poker party at Voodoo Lounge, and we were in the bathroom and ran into Raymer, and he had some choice words that I'm not going to repeat for just about the WPT in general.
Right,
He talked
right.
to me for about 5 minutes. It was good of
Right,
him
but
to take the time.
Yeah. It's funny how Negrano, though, in his blog, he kind of downplayed the lawsuit. And he said, that,
Yeah.
come on, this is ridiculous, guys, all that stuff.
I just don't understand, and I'd love, I wish Raymer comes through here, or Gordon, he's a part of it too, right?
He is.
Can adequately explain it. I haven't listened to the circuit episode where they had a guy on and explained it. I don't really know all that much about antitrust law and all that stuff, but I remember when the USFL went after the NFL in the mid-'80s. You look at an antitrust thing as a thing where they say, okay, the WPT has a monopoly on being a professional poker player, so that's why there's antitrust there. But if you look at it, you can be a professional poker player in cash games. You can play in the EPT. You can play in the World Series circuit events. You can play in Aussie Millions. Like I said, there's got to be more.
You can also
to
play
it.
online.
Right.
Who's coming over here?
I mean, way more of an antitrust issue, I think, to go after a major sport where you
Yeah,
have to be a pro and be in the NBA.
Like I said, I like you. I'm not really privy to all the details
Right.
of the lawsuit, but it seems somewhat. If the lawsuit is really just WPT prevents anybody from being a professional poker player if they don't want to play in WPT, that seems a little bit.
Of a stretch.
Yeah, a little bit of one. Mo is a professional poker player.
Right.
He can play in anything he wants.
Well, wow, look at this. Well, Garland's on the short stack. We had a raise here by Andy. Gus called. And, Garland's going to push here with 8s. Not bad short stack strategy.
Not at all. I think Gus might call this, though.
Really, with ace-queen. I think ace-king suited is an automatic call, but ace-queen...
How much dead money is in there?
Well,
It's not that much,
Yeah,
I
it looks
guess.
like the guy opened for a raise of 40 and Gus called him. You're talking about it's probably going to be a $500 pot, 400 to call, Dave. I don't think that's that much.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
You're right. I thought it was more like $700 for $1 call, getting
No.
almost 2 to 1.
I mean, even with ace-king here, I think you might lay it down. Get
Yeah,
it,
I think probably. You're only getting, what are you getting, 5 to 4 on your money?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably not worth it. Pick a better spot.
Now, if Gus knew what Garland had, it probably would be a call here.
Yeah,
It's
but
real
you
close.
got to start putting him on a range and go,
yeah.
okay, at best, he's got pocket 8s.
Yeah.
But at worst, he's got ace-king, he's got kings, he's got aces.
I think I sucked all the luck out of it.
Gus is out of there.
Let me suck some more out of it.
So we got word that Jonas is coming in. He's coming into seat 9. He's coming into seat 8. New player coming into seat 9. It's Chris. Get a look at him in a couple seconds. Now that Kev is the big green moderator, maybe Tuck can have him ghostwrite his blogs.
That would be
That's a good
great.
idea.
Could he do that? No, actually, the funny thing is I really enjoy writing my blogs, and I had so many stories. I mean, you and I had so many stories in Vegas to write.
Right.
I just, like I said, just did not bring my computer.
And I know I had you both beat, so I just pushed all in. So that's that.
Is George getting up there too? Well, maybe it's time to. I mean, the game had kind of been dead. Some of these guys are going to make a move. Get some new blood in here.
Apparently.
Got about 40 minutes left in the show.
Apparently we've got 5 or 6 $500 tables, so
Yeah.
a lot of action here at the bike. If you like playing cash games, this is the place to be.
You know, the one little pet peeve that I have, and I was talking to some of the floor men, is that people come here and they play the tournaments, and then they come out and they look at the board. And we do not do the no limit by the blinds. We have a 500 game and a 300 to 500 game. And I don't think the chip runners and whoever takes their name and puts them on the board, or the floor men, adequately inform the players that the 500 game is an uncapped game. I really don't think that some of the guys know that. That it's a 5-10 uncapped game.
Right, they don't realize it at all.
Yeah.
Oftentimes people will sit down. I actually had a guy sit down last night who was kind of drunk, and he sits down and he goes, 500, right? I go, right away I go, you can buy in for as much as you want, buddy.
Right.
You know I can't play easy against you.
Feel free to buy in for more. George taking a leave there. Good player, George. He really is. Always a lot really easy, obviously, when you hit kings twice and get paid off both times.
No, I do not think that George is a professional player. I think
No.
he does something else, but he still is a pretty good recreational player at that.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And the majority of players we see, I mean, you got to remember, how many players are pure professionals? Not that many.
Check.
Anthony's picked up a flush draw here,
What a spade.
and he's not going to bet it.
River's
9 on the river, and I want to say the
10
best hand is 10 high.
Well, we get actually a pair of fours there. Pair of fours. Andy's
Okay.
got a pair of fours.
Well, 10 high would still be the best hand, though, right?
Well, Anthony's moving over to seat 1. We got the new player here in seat 9. It's Chris. Looks like he's got a top hat on.
Yeah, Chris actually plays. Chris is somewhat
Does
of
he
a.
play the stud high-low? Oh,
He-
I know this guy.
Not only is he a stud high low player,
Yeah.
he's also a bit of a sports gambler.
Oh, just a bit. There he is. And he usually has a couple beers in his hands as well, from what I've seen.
Yeah, he's a bit of a sports gambler. Good guy, really nice guy. And interesting to see him in this game because I don't usually see him in no limit, especially this high up in no
Yeah.
limit. Once in a while, you see those stud high low players waiting for a game, but they'll kind of mess around in the $200 game. You don't usually see him playing in this high.
Or we're talking about the all-in.
Kathy, the stud high-low player, plays in the 3 to 5 game.
Right, I remember she climbed into my game to get me.
Yeah.
I'm going to get him. I got to tell you. She's
Hold that $100 bid. That bell's
sexy.
Already looking better.
5-way action here. King 10 Queen. Couple clubs. And we're going to see a bet out here by seat 6. He's got 9
Tell
tens,
me-
the best hand.
If we get a shot at Chris at some point, tell me he doesn't look like he's straight out of like some Stephen King novel.
We all got sucked into this.
Can you get a front shot of him, Isaac? Okay, take your time. I mean, look at that. Tell me it's not straight out of like some Stephen King novel. I mean, it's almost scary.
Why order anything else?
It's something I can eat every day, though. I see that.
Thank you, Isaac. Appreciate that.
But moves over here to seat 2.
Do you like Stephen King?
I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I might have read 10 of his books. I mean, he's written like 100.
Oh, he's written
hasn't
so
he?
many. I love his short stories. Best.
Yeah.
Love those.
It's all about sharks.
Pretty amazing stuff.
Big
Did
fan
you ever
of-
see the story called The Langoliers that was made into like a TV movie, which
No.
was out of the short stories? Stand By Me, which was the body, was a short story
Right,
as
right.
well.
There's actually a great short story that I love called The Long Walk, which he wrote, which is one of my favorites. Anybody wants to check that out, you should Google that and check it out. The Long Walk by Stephen King.
Ace 10-8 here.
Real spooky.
Now, Gaetano's,
Nice flop for Queen Jack.
yeah, he's got a double gutter with backdoor diamonds, and it's a rainbow board.
I love double gutters.
And he gets checked around, and the turn is an
Oh,
8.
wow. And now he's picked up the flush draw, and he's got a gut shot straight
And he
flush
checks
draw.
it again.
How do you not bet that?
And now Johnny's picked up trip 8s, and he's going to bet. I mean, that is a great flop to semi-bluff into from in second to last to act with Queen
yeah,
Jack. there.
amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
and now he's just going to call and check on. Unless he hits, he's probably going to check and fold.
Well, he's
Well-
made a backdoor diamonds. And he checked it again, and Johnny's filled up.
Oh, wow.
Oh, Gaetano's got a flush. What, do they not bet against each other? You wonder if Johnny missed? I don't understand that. I mean, he should have doubled through Gaetano right there. Sometimes you wonder. I don't think those two guys are friends. I don't know. Sometimes a guy just says like it's a nice guy. I won't bet against you. I have you. I've seen that before. It's so peculiar.
Are you kidding me? I got to tell you, you'll never see me do that.
No, of course not.
You will never see me do that. I'll go, hey man, you're a nice guy. Give me your freaking money.
I mean,
You know?
that should have went bet, move all in,
Call.
call.
Or bet move all in. Oh, shit. What did I get myself involved in here? Crying call with the flush draw, with the flush.
Yeah, because he only had like 500. I mean, he bet, raise. I don't think it would have been that much more. Yeah, it's very peculiar. Three-way action here. King, deuce, 6.
You just don't. I mean, I'm all for being nice to guys, but you're playing poker for money. If you don't maximize those kind of hands, somebody else is going to maximize the hands versus you. It's almost impossible to be a winner long term unless you maximize hands like that.
Bet here by seat number 5, Gaetano with the king. And Anthony's going to raise him here with pocket fours. But really the first time that Anthony's really done anything kind of out of line a little bit, but it's going to work. Out of line meaning, you know, he's kind of... I mean, it is a bluff.
Oh, completely a bluff, yeah.
Yeah. And you can see that he raises and the guy shows him the king and he just folds. That's
Right.
the kind of table that you're at here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's part of the key of playing successful poker is figuring out what kind of players you're playing against. Get an email here from Johnny again. He says, "Hey, this is for Bart, Tuck, and Daniel. Hey, can anyone watch and listen to Too Much Poker? For me, I start my day off at the circuit and listen to Phil Gordon's podcasts. And then I listen to old circuit shows and NeverWin.com shows. Then I read poker books and card player mags. This is all at work. Then when I go home, I usually have time to watch the archives and then watch the live broadcast. As I'm doing this, I'm also playing online and or watching a
T-Bode Poker Show.
T-Bode Poker Show. Now, is this way too much poker or just enough?"
That's like mainlining poker. Now, Chris has got ace, king, and diamonds here. Looks like he popped it up. Now,
An ace is not going to fall.
queen, 10, 9. Now, who's the raiser here?
I want to say
It,
Seat 6 was the raiser.
You know, it was Chris with ace, king, and diamonds.
There you go.
And he's going to follow through. He's totally missed.
Well, Gaetano and Gus here. Now, Gus has actually got a really big hand. Gus has got top pair with the flush draw, with the straight draw. Sorry,
Top pair with the open end straight draw.
and he's got
Clubs
bottom
up
2
there.
though.
Yep, and Andy's got bottom 2 here. And again, like I said, how much money do you want to commit here with 9, 10?
Oh, that's a scary board. I got to tell you, you might call this. You might put a little bit of a mini raise in there, kind of get some information here
Yeah.
and see what happens. He is not that deep.
Well, he might have about 1,000 there. He's just going to move
Wow.
it
Well,
in. Well, in
You know-
this case, he's okay, but
and now what is Gus going to do here? He's got top pair with open-ended straight draw.
I assume he's going to fold here.
He also has backdoor clubs with the jack of clubs. Yeah, he's not going to get involved. Throws it away.
Yep.
And this is probably going to get the job done here.
Gaetano shows what is the draw to the nuts if the king comes with the ace-jack. And Chris is out of there as well. I want to ask everybody, and this is what I love about the show, people listening to the Phil Gordon podcast and stuff. How many Phil Gordon podcasts have there been since, when did you win? Last Monday? The charity event?
No, like 2 Thursdays ago.
2 Thursdays ago, David won the charity event. How many Phil Gordon podcasts have there been, and he not mentioned
He probably
that
forgot.
at all?
It's not a big deal.
No, I'm just wondering.
I mean, I give anybody a pass. I'm gonna
All right.
actually, like I said, when I get back to Vegas, after I write at least 6 or 7 blogs, I am going to contact Phil Gordon.
I mean, he
And I
forgot
will-
that someone's donating $10,000 that won the World Series of Poker charity event to his charity?
I guess so. I mean, I'm going to give him a free pass the first time. But like I said, I'm going to contact him when I get back and see if he makes good on his promise, and hopefully he'll come on the show.
Well, Anthony's going to raise it up here with ace-queen. And see, number 2's got pocket 9s. Let's see how Alex is going to play it. And George Giorgio coming to the table.
Yeah,
over there.
apparently we get the...
Greek poker crowd?
exactly. No Jonas.
Yeah, I guess. Well, Jonas is still locked up in seat 9 in a re-raise here by Andy. And again, Anthony is just done with it with the ace-queen. Very conservative table. Got a half an hour left in the show.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne. Yeah, I'm easy.
So is there any... Can there be too much... Can you watch too much poker?
I mean, I try to watch a lot of the poker shows, but I miss a lot of the kind of... I want to call them almost poker infomercials. A lot of people say, like, the full tilt thing. I mean, do they pay FSN to put that on, right? Those full tilt shows?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody told me that Mansion Poker, which I haven't really seen yet, is also kind of like a commercial.
Yeah, you'd imagine it is
Yeah.
some sort of a commercial. Although Full
Or the
Tilt,
Poker Dome thing.
you wonder if Full Tilt's ratings are good enough that they can if they can somehow sustain themselves.
And how did Michael Koenig become a poker commentator anyways, that guy? He played the World Series of Blackjack. He's a singer. And he's commentating for Aussie Millions and for the Poker Dome thing. And, I mean, I haven't seen him, but all I can go is from people who responded on 2+2 that say he's absolutely horrible. I saw a thread about that earlier over in the televised thread. Anyone getting sick of Michael Koenig talking through his crap factory was the
great.
title of the thread.
Well, I actually tried to get through to Gary Garcia, who's in charge of FSN.
Right.
And who's also in charge of the Aussie Millions, to see if he can hook us up and we can fly to Australia and do the show.
Right. And did you get any response?
I haven't tried yet, but I'm going to try.
I mean, again, you know, we've been doing this for a year and a half, and obviously some people know about us, some people don't. But isn't there just a calling for? I mean, it seems like every poker commentator out there, with the exception of a few, there's a lot of respect for Gabe Kaplan. I respect him. Howard Leder, Phil Hellmuth, pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
But other than that, it just seems real dry out there. I guess the point is, does anybody care?
Well, I mean, I think people will care because you've got to realize when there was only one poker show out there,
Right.
you didn't really have a choice. But now that you've got 5, 6, 7 different poker shows out there, what is going to make you see one show over another show? Well, it's going to be the content and obviously the commentary.
Garland pops up here with jacks. He doesn't get any action. Look at the pyramid of chips here for seat 5. My goodness.
A lot of chips there.
Yeah.
He had quite a night. Probably up close to $3,000, right?
Bad beat after bad beat is a bad beat. By definition, it's to lose. People know how to beat it, supposedly.
Button moves over here to seat 9.
All right, let's go around the table 20 again. Chill. Let's do it. Yeah?
Everybody do
Straddle.
Got a little under a half an hour left of the show. Join us tomorrow. I'll be here at Boston. 2040 No Limit Hold'em.
Yep. Do apologize, I won't be here. This will be the last week I will be gone for quite some
Are you
time.
doing the helicopter ride with Negrano tomorrow?
I'm doing that, and I'm doing the Kenneth James thing tomorrow.
On Thursday.
No, tomorrow.
Oh, you're
also.
doing both of those things?
Both those tomorrow, and actually having an interview with Jamie Gold, hopefully tomorrow. That's up in the air.
Wow, got you busy over there at the UK Poker Channel, huh?
Yeah. Well, we're going to try to
You've
squeeze
done
in
some
as
great
much as-
work for them. You really
Hopefully,
have.
yeah. Hopefully they'll appreciate it and bring us over for the high stakes cash game.
Somebody got a better one to start from the beginning.
Well, seat 7 is going to raise it up here with Ace 10 off suit. He makes it 60 to go.
It's funny, what originally started out as was supposed to be 3 or 4 days of work has turned into about 10 days of work.
Yeah.
Chris not going to get involved. Actually, no, I'm sorry.
Chris was the
takes it.
raiser.
Yeah,
He's
Chris
going to
takes
take it down. Gus does not get involved with 7-5 here.
Thank you.
Button moves over here to seat 1 to Anthony.
Greek poker god there.
You know, it's weird. I was kind of bitching about how my car was a little bit on the fritz. The car radio froze. Remember
Right.
that? And now I'm back in LA and it's working fine. Could you think it had something to do with the weather?
It could
like
be.
115 degrees all the time.
I suppose. I mean, it
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense, though.
I don't know. Like,
Other car radios work fine.
Yeah, but you wonder if, you know, a car hasn't been in that type of extreme environment, if it just kind of acted up a little bit and then...
You never know. I always think there are monkeys inside doing it.
Well, Chris is going to raise again here. He's got ace 9 this time.
Well, he's kind of mixing it up. He's noticing right away that this table is somewhat tight. Why not pick up all the dead money? And you know what? I don't think anybody's going to call this.
I think that... Did Garland straddle there?
Garland did straddle. He's got
yeah.
deuce 7 off suit. And Chris is going to just keep taking these lines away.
Hustler, and I won like 46 out of Christmas time. Shut it all down. I decided I want to look at poker again.
I like that. Jeff 911 on 2+2 says, quoting me, I love double gutters. Good in poker, bad in bowling.
25 grand. That's a net. And then
Button moves over here to seat 2.
third best all around.
And then, of course, people starting posting there. Something wasn't quite right with that boat versus flush hand. There's no way.
But again, like, these guys aren't friends. They haven't been soft playing each other. I just don't... You wonder sometimes. It just...
Yeah, you wonder if they're just next to each other and the guy's just like, you know.
From there, I went
Sometimes I actually hear this, though. I actually hear the, well, I didn't think you'd call anyway. So I didn't want to bet the nuts.
Put it out there with after the card. You look like an honorable guy.
Pocket 10s here for George in seat 9. Welcome to the table. And we do have a straddled pot here by seat 5. Let's see what George is going to do.
$15.
I guess everyone's agreed to straddle, Dave. Kind of a table agreement.
That's cool. Hey.
Wow, George is gonna.
Makes the game instantly bigger. You got a 5, 10, 20 game. It's a 3-blind game.
Did George slip in there? Couldn't quite tell. He did raise.
And he's made it $80 to go. 4 times the straddle spot.
Gus is not going to get involved here with King Queen offsuit.
Garland's not going to call. Gaetano's not going to call. And George takes it in. And we haven't seen a flop in 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Get an email here from David McQueen saying, subject the long walk. And I was talking about Stephen King's Long Walk. It says, hey, Tuck, give them an overview. Can't read the rest of it here. I think it would be a cool movie, but the story is a great read from Dave McQueen. Yeah, and I'll give you the quick overview. The Long Walk, actually, it's kind of like set in the future. And basically, long story short, you have to apply to go for this long walk. And they take 100 kids. I think they're all under 18. And you have to continuously walk. And if you stop walking, you get shot. Dead. And whoever finishes the walk, whoever walks the longest, and it's like 4, 5, 7 days long, gets whatever they want, whatever wish they want. And it's like a complete psychological mind fuck. It's a really cool movie. I mean, a really cool book. I think Stephen King's one of his best.
4-way action here. It's a straddle pot once again, limped around ace 10-5 with a couple of hearts. Not a whole lot out there.
All this sarcasm on 2+2 here. Phil Gordon shows every Monday, so only about 2 shows since Tuck's big win.
It looks like George is going to bet here with middle pair, and he's going to take it down. He has the best hand. Yeah, Stephen King always, I mean, even, what is it? The Running Man was kind of like that. He has got the concept of like these futuristic type game shows where what's at stake is really somebody's life.
Yeah.
And it's never really gotten to that point, but I always thought it was interesting when reality shows came out about 5 years ago, if anyone really got seriously injured in a reality show. Like if somebody died.
Right.
It almost parallels it a little bit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Say somebody on Survivor ate something and they had food poisoning and they were killed.
I actually wrote a script a little while ago. I wrote a script. And anybody knows me. I like to fancy myself a writer, and I wrote a screenplay. And the premise of the screenplay was actually a poker tournament where if you got eliminated from the tournament, you were eliminated. Hey. Now can you call all in?
Yeah.
Do you really have a set of balls or what?
3-way action here. Limped around, straddled again. Queen 5-5 here. And everybody's missed.
Surprise, surprise.
Looks like it's going to get checked around. Yeah, checked around. Turn is a 7. Well, Chris has got Jack 7.
Jonas, who's a clever player. This guy didn't come for a long time.
Chris is going to bet it now. Thinks he probably has the best hand, and he's right.
My girlfriend in here. My partner.
And, yeah, he bets 50.
Now, for those of you that are listening to us right now, obviously you are all subscribers. And I'm telling you this month, like I was saying it the first half hour, obviously to sell it, but I'm telling you this month is going to be great. Between Gavin Smith, Joe Seabach, Vanessa Russo, Barry Greenstein, Doyle Brunson, Daniel Negreanu, hopefully Phil Gordon. I mean, the names are going to be here, and we're going to get them on the show for you. So it should be really exciting. Who knows, maybe we can get Cloney Gowan back on the show. Maybe she'll read another book. Remember that last year?
Yes, I do.
Reading a book at the table.
God, she played so tight. She played like 2 hands the entire night.
All she did was read her book.
It was Daniel Steele book, I remember.
I mean, that was just to me, that was just unreal. I have never seen, you'll never see a professional poker player, somebody who makes their living playing poker, reading a friggin' book at the table.
Well, that's funny, though, because Negreanu said in his video blogs, the first couple, especially Omaha tournaments, he read like a Total Entertainment Weekly.
Maybe in a tournament he might. But I mean,
first levels
I don't
of
know.
tournament.
If you walk into the Bellagio and you're watching the big cash games, you never see like Gabe Thaler or Cunningham. You're not gonna watch them like reading a friggin' Daniel Steele book.
Well, maybe not Daniel Steele. 5-way action here. King Jack 3 with a couple of hearts.
I don't know. You just think that you'd want to pay attention to the game a little.
Oh, I know where you're going. Absolutely. I did think it was interesting though that Negreanu said he was playing in a tournament and he wanted almost like a mental break from concentrating. Where in Omaha, where you start with a lot of chips and it's limit, and Omaha high low, I mean, pretty much the cards speak for themselves. You can move a little bit, but
No,
you
no,
can make some
exactly.
moves, but it's more of just
Well, it's
playing
the same
the
thing.
cards.
If I'm playing Limit Hold'em, I can probably read a Card Player magazine while I'm playing Limit Hold'em cash game.
Right.
But if I'm playing a no-limit game, generally I'm going to want to pay attention to my opponents.
Well, Gitano's just throwing a little bit of a bluff bet out here with 7-10 on the button. Again, it just no one's really hit much of anything here.
And apparently the decision to have Boston commentating all day tomorrow is a good decision voted on. Why, did he only do like half a day last time?
No, he was there.
Oh, he was, okay.
Again, we'd like to work Boston into kind of a third-man rotation.
No, I think it's important, obviously, because you and I would like to play a tournament here or there.
I'd like to play Legends on Monday, that 500 Omaha.
Yeah, you and I would obviously like a day off once in a while.
Right.
And obviously, we look at when an opportunity arises for either one of us or both of us,
Right.
we want to have a backup.
Not that he is a backup, but good commentator in his own right.
Oh, no, he's great.
Yeah.
He's fabulous.
Pocket fours here, and Gus is going to raise it up. Going to make it 30. Well, Gitano's feeling lucky. He's going to call with Queen 8 of clubs.
Well, he called, remember, he won a big pot with Queen 9 of spades. And
Johnny's in there with King 8.
offsuit.
Yeah.
Hand that has hidden value. You can make two straights with it and two different flushes.
Chris is going to call with a suited Ace 6 of hearts. And this is going to be a $160 pot going four ways. Gus, the pre-flop raiser.
Well, everybody's really pretty much missed this.
Well,
huh?
Gitano's got a flush draw. Queen 8 of clubs.
Oh, you're right. Okay. Actually, he hasn't missed it all. I'm sorry. He actually has a gut shot straight
Yeah,
draw
he's got
as
a
well.
gut shot and a flush draw. It's
It's
a big
actually a
draw.
great flop for him.
And Gus bets 100, and Gitano quickly calls. Again, quick call sometimes indicative of a draw.
Yeah.
As opposed to him thinking about trying to call with a 10.
Right. Well, if you look at a board like that, if he
And
had, say...
now he's double gutted. He's got a flush draw and he's double gutted. He takes the card on the turn. Look at this. With one card to come, and he hits the queen at the river. With one card to come, Gus was only 50-50 with a pair.
Right.
Very rare. Gitano could have caught an 8, a club, a 7, a jack.
Or a club. Right, or a queen.
A lot of outs there.
Huge number of outs
Yeah.
there. But you're right. Now, if you look at that board there, 10-9, deuce, 2 clubs, if some guy had flopped, say, top pair, or if some guy flopped 2 pair, 10-9, would he call that quickly with a board like that? He'd probably have to think about it for a second. Which is kind of like if you're playing in a live game, it's one of the reasons why you want to kind of take that second, even if you know you're going to call with the automatic flush draw.
Yeah.
Take a second, just so they don't put you on that flush draw.
Yeah, the other thing about Survivor, I think Isaac was saying, I think he was referring to Survivor where a guy got burned and he had to be helicoptered away. Got burned in a bonfire. And then I was listening to Howard
cool.
Stern, where one of the winners from one of the seasons, I don't know if he was the winner, he went back home and he's crazy now. Like he turned into like an alcoholic and now he's in a mental hospital.
He might have been crazy before he got there. Come on.
Well,
Come on, how can we play
it's like the
Survivor
game
for
never
that?
ended for him.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you imagine he's going home, he wakes up, don't vote me off! Don't vote me off! Right, exactly. He's sitting in the backyard eating snails.
Well, Chris is going to raise it up here with a little gap-suited connector, deuce 4 of spades. Is Johnny going to get involved here with King Jack? The answer is yes. So King Jack against deuce 4 of spades here. $45 raise and we're heads up. About a $90 pot going to the flop. Not a bad flop for King Jack here. He's open-ended.
Not bad at all. And he actually has the best hand here with King High. But Chris is going to bet here.
He's going to continuation bet.
Johnny decides not to make the semi-bluff here. Now he's put himself in a spot where I guess he's going to check call.
Or will he maybe check raise here?
What's not a bad play here is how about a... What?
How about a check fold? You wonder if he realized he was open-ended. And that's why, again, you wonder if he missed the 8-5 there about 10, 20 minutes ago.
Wow, I mean, this guy doesn't bet full houses on the river, folds open-ended straight draws with a rainbow board. I mean, I thought maybe now, what's a good play? Sometimes I'll bet my straight draw there.
Right.
But another play that might work as well is you can check, call, and then lead out on the turn no matter what comes.
I played $200 all get down to 20 players, all of a sudden you get loose.
Since I'll play a pair that way, people will also, obviously if you play certain hands always the same way, somebody can put you on it. But if you play a pair that way, or you play a set that way, or a straight draw, it becomes very difficult for your opponent to put you on a hand. Got about 15 minutes left in tonight's show. Once again, you don't want to miss tomorrow night. Tomorrow night's 2040 blinds. Bart Hansen, Boston Christopher, at the helms. Action should be intense. Pocket jacks for Chris, and he's going to make it $60 to go. Action folds around to Andy. He is not going to play. But Gaetano is going to play with a suited ace. He's got ace 8 of hearts. And we are heads up here. Ace 8 of hearts versus pocket jacks. Flop comes out. Ace, king, 10. And Gaetano takes the lead here. But Chris has got he's got a gut shot straight draw. He can catch a jack or a queen to win this hand. Pretty ugly flop for pocket jacks, and Chris easily throws it away. And Gaetano adds to his stack.
Got a little over 15 minutes left in the show here.
So are they off the dinner break from the World Series?
I'm going to check that out here in a second. Looks like we're going to do our final chip count of the night.
Now we got 12,000 on the table. Gaetano with 3,800. Garland bringing up the rear with 500. Let's see how they're doing. Yeah, wow, Gaetano has really ran the table over. He's up $2,100 tonight. Andy up 500. The rest of the table is pretty much down. And that is the final chip count of the night. Gaetano, our big winner. And apparently our
Butt moves over here to seat 1.
Apparently our home is on fire.
Well, Jack 10 of clubs here, King 10 of diamonds for George. Looks like George just limped in. He did from the cutoff. And
Well, Andy's going to play it with 3-4 clubs. Nice shot of somebody.
He's played on the show before. I do not remember.
Yeah, I don't know either. Flop comes out king high, and George has got top pair.
Gus has got a gut shot. Andy has middle pair or bottom pair.
And
And
George
George
bets
bets.
50. And I'm not sure if anybody's going to call this. Haven't seen many moves all night.
No, not really.
And George is going to take it down.
Yep. And now we're starting to get those kind of mix-ish Omaha EO BOT games go on the side. Like there was a 30
Right,
mix
yeah.
game over
And
there.
who knows, during Legends, I assume that we're probably going to get an Omaha game down.
Oh, they had one yesterday because it was an Omaha tournament. They
No,
started
but I'm assuming
30,
we're going
60.
to get one down for the show.
Oh, yeah, that would be great.
I mean, we built this new table specifically
Yeah.
for Omaha, but specifically for 4-card games.
Yeah.
We might as well get it down. I actually would love to have like a mixed game where we could maybe play Hold'em, Omaha High, and Omaha 8 or better.
Well, I don't know who plays that mix.
I know you can get
Limit
Mo.
Omaha
Mo would do it in a
High
heartbeat.
in
No, you make it
Omaha
pot
low.
limit. Make the whole thing pot limit.
Oh, like a pot limit game.
Pot limit Omaha, pot limit Omaha 8 or better, and a
Yeah.
pot limit Hold'em game.
I'm sure
Mo would
Ernie
host it.
Scherer would play it.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
so would Mo, and probably the game would fill up like that. I think that's great. I mean,
Yeah.
not to pat myself on the back, but I think it's a great idea.
Sometimes the inherent problem is those tournaments start at 4:15, so to get that game down, it's a little bit difficult.
Yeah, it can be tough sometimes. Now, the Legends has actually gone on for about, I want to say, a week so far, and apparently Ronnie McMillan has actually played in every event, but has not made it past 7 o'clock yet. But tomorrow is always a new day. The Ronster.
King, Queen, and Diamonds over here for seat 2. Andy's going to raise it.
I taught him how to play live when I was living up with him.
And he does raise it. He makes it 30,
Yeah, I know Andre.
and he's going to take it down.
Oh, Steve Unger.
Well, Andy's been with us since the start, so
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's played about 6 or 7 hands.
Gritano over there. Gritano. You ever You ever been to Katana? That's why I can say his name. Gritano.
No, where's
You ever
that?
been to Katana, the sushi place on Sunset?
No, I've never been there. I mean, maybe I have and I don't remember.
A couple doors down from Miyagi's on that side of the road.
Is it next to the body shop?
Across the street from the body shop, up a little ways.
Okay.
More west. Why would you
Is it
know
near
about the
s-
body shop?
Is it next to? Well, that was across from Miyagi's.
Yeah.
What about Sushi on Sunset? Is it across the street from that?
It's still further west.
Still
a little bit
further west, okay.
yeah.
Usually, when I go over the hill for sushi, I'm usually going to Matsuhisa.
Yeah. Got a raise here by Anthony, and Gus is going to call with pocket fives.
Bellagio?
You have a big rock.
No, yeah, he sent out like 80,000.
Wait, at the Bellagio thing? You won two $1,000 tournaments?
Yeah.
So 8s against 5s here. Anthony, the pre-flop raiser. Jack 10-3. Let's see if Anthony makes the continuation bet.
But 40 minutes would beat everybody else.
And that's a good bet by Anthony. So many times we see players playing it passively. They don't like the flops, they check it, and they give the pot away. And you've got to realize that you can't just assume your opponent, if the flop didn't help you, you can't assume that it helped your opponent. And that's a pot, that's pretty much a $70 swing there. If he doesn't bet that, if he checks it because he doesn't like the flop, Gus is going to bet, and you have to fold.
You would talk over the guests. I wanted to hear what the guests had to say.
I like him too.
So would talk over everybody.
Yeah.
Button moves over here to seat 5. Looks like Johnny's going to buy the button. When I recycled myself through the No Limit game, Jennifer
Yes.
Langston was playing the 3-5. Interesting to see that she feels comfortable in that game now.
Does she?
Get up, take my medication.
Well, she was playing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Phil Hellmuth is playing.
And was she still as tight as always?
I played on
Yeah, I actually didn't. I actually managed to lose a buy-in. I flopped trips, and another guy flopped trips with a bigger kicker. I was just sitting around, kind of just
Yeah, that
talking
game,
to Nicole.
that game can be really good sometimes, but it can be a little frustrating to me just because you can't put. A lot of those guys are scared of losing money,
Yeah.
but you can't really put heat on them because you only have $500.
Right.
At the main event, he sat down and Joe like over 50 grand.
Got a raise here by George. Queen Jack is suited. Anthony calls the suited connector. Wow, Andy's in there with a real trouble hand. Pot's 135.
Well, like Trip Jacks here.
Well, George is definitely going to bet right out, and you wonder if Anthony's going to get involved here. He's got a pair of 5s.
Well, Anthony might not think, and look,
Yeah,
he's going to
there
call
it is.
here, and I
Yeah.
love the bet by George. Anthony doesn't think this guy would bet a jack right away. But you know what, though? I got to tell you, against a good player, there's no way I'm calling with 5-6.
No. And is Andy making a move here? He's going to call. Is he setting up a play? But George has the jack. And now George picks up a flush draw now.
Well, look,
and
Andy's-
Andy's open-ended.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Now you wonder.
This pot is $350, and George is going to bet again.
Well, and George's got to be a little cautious here. One of the players, he probably assumes one of those guys must have the other jack, right?
Well, you can't beat Jack 9 now. You can beat
Can't
Jack
beat-
8 and Jack 10.
But he can't beat Jack King.
Right. Anthony's out of there.
And Anthony, obviously, he has to fold because the guy behind him called. He can't make the move now.
Well, if Andy was, setting up a play, I don't know why you wouldn't raise here. But he just calls again. Pot is quickly over $500. And the river is a spade, and George makes a backdoor flush with trip jacks.
Yeah, and at this point, I think you can really bet it, and I'd bet it strong here, and you're hoping your opponent has King Jack or Ace Jack. I wouldn't put him on Jack 9 specifically.
And George is going to bet $250 here. Well, doesn't look like Andy's going to get
Well,
involved.
obviously, Andy can't do
It
anything
just
there.
look, it's so interesting to note, especially with guys that we don't say play cash games all that much, that they will never give anybody credit for coming out and betting trips.
Right.
And how much more money you make.
Oh, of course. He built himself a pot there.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, had the 8 of spades coming out, and Andy had backed into a straight, but it was the flush card for George, you wonder, I think Andy probably pays him off.
Oh, of course.
You wonder if a queen had come off, does Andy even pay him
Right.
off? And obviously, George has got to be a little cautious there, really thinking one of these guys might have a jack also. But so often, if I see somebody betting into me, and it's a good player, if I only have the bottom pair, like a 5 in that case, why am I getting involved at all? What, am I going to go to war with jacks and 5s, the 6 kicker?
And a raise here again here by Andy. He's got Jack 9 of clubs. I'm really itching to get out there and play tonight. 500 games going. A little bit of table selection going on.
Although the frustrating thing sometimes about the Bicycle Casino that really frustrates me is the fact that you don't really get the table change that much.
Well, now you are going to this month.
Are they? Okay, they're not going to make it one main game and must move into a must move into a must move into a must move.
I gotta say, the floormen they try to do as best job as possible, but I could see some people getting frustrated. They'd come and play the tournament. Well, now you get Live at the Bike coming on, so one of the table kind of breaks. They've got two must moves feeding 2 main games, and basically they're moving somebody every 2 minutes. People are like, "Fuck this." I mean, I could see it in some of their eyes. Like,
of course, that's what I'm saying. If you're gonna
how do you ever get used to any of the players?
Of course.
Yeah.
You got to have one main game,
Yeah.
and you got to do one main game, and then you do table change, and you're allowed table changes, or 3 main games, and you're allowed table changes. However you want to do it. Get a setup here, and we're only gonna get another hand or 2 in here.
Got about a little under 10 minutes left.
Isaac is kind of itching to do this for an extra half hour tonight, but
I didn't even know Ray was out there on the floor.
yeah, I didn't know Ray. Ray is real quiet.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, obviously, one of the things I've been pushing for, and hopefully we'll be able to do
There
it
he is.
if a game is real, there he is, look at him. I gotta tell you, man, Ray is as cool as the other side of the pillow.
Cool as the other side of the pillow. I haven't heard that one before.
You never heard that?
Yeah.
You guys never heard that?
Hey,
I didn't make it up.
We had a great kind of male bonding at the Live at the Bike house in Vegas. We were playing, what is that box game?
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah. Fight Night. Yeah,
on PS2.
And Ray kicked your butt.
Yeah, Ray owns the game, okay?
Oh, blah, blah, blah.
That was the first time. It was the first time I ever played the game, and I beat the crap out of Isaac and you.
Did you play me?
No, I'm sorry. I beat Isaac twice. Isaac tried to throw a queen deuce at me. Didn't work.
I don't think Ronnie plays video games.
Ronnie just slept.
Yeah. He was up at like 6 in the morning. I was coming in, going to bed, and he was up already feeding the ducks outside.
Just for the record, I actually I let Ray beat me in hockey.
Oh, yeah.
I felt bad for him. And Isaac let me beat him, right?
Yeah. Live straddle here, limped around. I still don't think that game is lacking like a knockout punch. Now, Andy is going to raise it out of the straddle, and he takes it down.
Take it down, Mr. Brown.
No, anyone familiar with the game that we're talking about, I know you're saying it's a video game, but it was almost like a thing where you couldn't knock somebody down with one punch, which I think is a part of heavyweight fighting, isn't it? Like a specialty punch.
I don't know. I like the game. I thought the game was awesome. I can't wait to go get it.
You're going to get it.
Oh, definitely. That game rocked. That game was great. Just watching the knockout punches. The guy's like, you punch him 8 times in a row. He's face down. He's headed like he's like 2 feet away from the mat, and you punch him again. That was just great. Anybody check that out on PS2 Fight Night? That was awesome. We played a little FIFA. I beat you.
Yeah, even though I dominated the game, it was kind of like Italy-US.
Who did I play? Oh, I took Norway. You had the U.S. and I beat you anyway.
Limped around here once again. Gus in the straddle. Johnny's pocket.
Maybe we'll do that one night on Live at the Bike. Instead of doing poker, we'll just play PS2 for our fans to watch.
9-4-5 here with a couple of clubs. Well, 7s are good.
That'd actually be kind of cool if we had a little contest. People could come in. We could play PS2 and webcast it out. Like do a little Madden thing. Actually, August 26th or 22nd, actually, Madden 07 comes out. We could do a little Madden contest. Bring in like 16 people. Do a little mini tournament. Put it out on our webcam.
Button here moves to seat number 1 to Anthony.
If you'd be interested in playing in that, let us know.
Now, Anthony's
at thebike.com.
Anthony is Rika's boyfriend. Rika used to be a cocktail waitress, finished, 5th in the ladies' event?
Something like that, 4th, 5th, something like
that.
Anthony is really.
Yeah.
She looks.
Button moves here to seat 1.
Eureka's actually a really sweet girl. She used to cocktail here. Very sweet. And has now taken to the tournament circuit. And obviously somewhat successful in it already.
Oh, nice looking blonde girl. You wonder when its sponsorship's going to come for her, too.
Oh, I'm sure. The funny thing is, I'm sure next year at the World Series they'll consider her a pro and not us.
Right. Limped around to the straddle. Garland's going to raise it out of the straddle. King, queen offsuit.
And no flop again. Just a couple of more hands tonight. Hopefully we'll get a flop in here. Actually, this is going to be it. And I actually wanted to say before that, one thing we're going to be trying to do, and who knows if it'll happen this month, but sometime in the next few months, what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to be flexible. So if a game is really, really great, we might even go an extra couple hours. Give you extra coverage.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, we talked about this.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, don't hold it to me right now, but it's something that's we're going to be working on in the future. Because sometimes the games are just so amazing that you don't want to stop them, and we can go till 11 or 12 o'clock.
Well, another thing to do...
And sometimes the games aren't as exciting like this one, because obviously we're live. We can't control what happens tonight.
Right. Well, you can also capture the games like we do and put them on the next day, too.
Exactly. That's more of the point, exactly what we might do. So if the game is so great and you guys are home going, wow, I want to see more of Phil Locke and more of Bobby Ballon. Can't we see more of this? We might actually capture the next 3 hours and then show it to you the following week. Things that we're looking to do for our subscribers.
And it is limped around to the straddle here. And everyone's straddled, so it's kind of become a 10-20 game, but not really, because...
It's almost a 5-10-20 game. Well, there's the jack. Andy way ahead of everybody. But Catano's got an interesting hand here. He has backdoor diamonds plus he's open-ended. And it's a rainbow board. I like Catano's hand. I really do.
But he hasn't really been betting his draws all night long.
No, he never bets a draw. If he bets, you know he's got a hand.
And Andy's going to bet King-Jack, very straightforward.
Why not?
Gus is out of there with Queen-5, and I assume Gaetano is going to call.
And the problem also is, even if Gaetano hits his hand, how much money is really Andy going to lose here with just King-Jack?
Look what's coming out the woodwork. Maybe my nines aren't good.
And Johnny calls with a wheel draw to the 4. Turns a 3.
I love this.
Well, it changes nothing. And if Gaetano would put a little bet out there, first of all, it could be used as a blocker bet.
Kind of a freeze bet.
Freeze bet, but it also might win the pot. You never know.
Andy bets 125. Gaetano calls. Nothing wrong with Andy keep betting here.
No, and this pot's about $400 now.
You might even value bet the river here with King-Jack. Well, the river is a queen.
I got to tell you, I'm definitely value betting King-Jack here. Not even a question.
Well, he's definitely not going to check Queen-Jack to you, right?
And this is exactly the point I'm talking about here.
Because you will play, the queen will play with a paired board there.
Now, this is the last hand, but I just want to leave this up there for 1 second. This is exactly what we talk about when we talk about value betting the river.
Yeah.
When you're able to call off somebody's big bluff. Notice how Andy there did not even bet King-Jack. I mean, top pair, pretty good kicker.
No, his kicker plays. That's the point right there.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you do not bet that.
I mean, more of a reason why Jack-9 would call hoping to chop the pot.
Exactly. I mean, if Gaetano had Ace-Jack, don't you think he would have heard from him?
Right.
So, amazing.
Well, that is going to do it for us tonight. Again, we will be back tomorrow. Dave's going back to Vegas for a little bit of duties. He'll be back on Monday.
Yes.
I'll be back here tomorrow with Boston, playing a little 2040 No Limit Hold'em. So for everybody here in the booth, I'm Bart Anton. For Dave Tuckman, good night, everybody, from Live at the Bike.